Hello everybody, we are back. 4020 Live is back. No rest for the wicked. Not much rugby league to talk about this week, but we thought that last week and we had a power pack 2 hours. You can get in touch with the show as ever at 4020 Live on Twitter. You can get in touch through the Facebook page, and you can get in touch as well through the comments on YouTube. More and more you're doing that every week. Thanks to each and every one of you that have downloaded the podcast. Numbers going up in their thousands every week. We really appreciate it. Richard Shawright, he's been banished. We've banned him for his constant... He's just getting too aggressive. So he's gone. We've banned him for a week. He's doing some community work elsewhere. We've drafted in...
One rant too many, wasn't it?
It was one rant too many. And we have drafted in, off the bench... we've done basically what all have done, you know. So we've gone for someone that we used to have, that we didn't think were good enough, and then we thought, well, we'll get him back because we were a bit short on numbers this week. Tom Maguire's here. You all right, pal?
I'm all right. I didn't like that comparison.
No, we're only winding you up, Tom. We've missed you.
Jordan Thompson of 4020, surely not.
No, Jordan Thompson's good. I like him.
Never let him go in the first place.
Some would say this show's gone downhill since you left, Tom. I would have to say I probably agree with him.
No, that was just his mum.
All right, okay. Are you well? What have you been up to?
I'm good. I'm over at Castleford now. We're still doing the 6 to 8 debate show, so you know, bit of a rival in that regard, but still.
No, we have no rivals. We have no rivals.
Well, whatever.
We love
when you're the best, you don't have any rivals.
Whatever. But no, I keep in touch with the show. Obviously, I'm aware of the mouse of the south and stuff like that. But. Yeah, life's good, and
it's only a 2-hour show, Tom. Can you keep it short?
Are you playing the Oscar music?
He's making up for the last 8 weeks.
Well, yeah. No, everything's grand and ready to get ripped into some rugby league as ever. And if you want to get in touch on the Twitters and the Facebooks.
Good man. Schoey is famous again. Pearson hits back. Garry Schofield. You've caused upset in the city of Hull. Don't count us out, the Hull boss tells Schoey. Is he trying to convince his own fans or himself? Because he's not convincing me.
Well, I'm the same. I'll ask your opinion about that. I'll say as I go on. But let me just put this right now. Let me just put this record straight to start with. As far as me goes as a supporter, right? Leeds Rhinos is my team. I want Leeds to win the treble every year, and if that doesn't happen. The other team I want to win the treble every year is the Black and Whites for obvious reasons, right? So I want to get this myth, and certainly from Hull fans, or when I came out with my predictions 2 weeks ago, is that it again? Is that it again? And I just want to put a couple of reasons with Mr. Pearson here. First of all, you know, from a point of view, he finds my comments a bit amusing, and also too as well. Adam, let me just say to you as well. With this radio show at this moment in time, we're all brand new, so I don't get paid for this radio show. And let me tell you this as well, Adam. For my column in the League Express, I don't get paid for my column in the League Express. So let me just tell you this as well, Adam, as well. He's saying I'm controversial because I'm paid to be controversial. Well, let me just say this to you, Adam. Every media outlet I have worked with, not one of them has said to me, Schoey, if you're not controversial, we're not paying you and we're not employing you. So you can forget that straight away, Mr. Pearson, about being controversial or being controversial regarding different subjects. And also as well, Adam, I don't think I am controversial. Let me just tell you this. I only comment and give an open, honest comment on what I see. Whether it's on a Thursday night, a Friday night, Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon. I only comment on what I see. And if it's good, it's good. And if it's crap, it's crap. Now let me just tell you this, Mr. Pearson. For the last 11 games of last season, the performances what your club, the performances what your players was absolutely pathetic and diabolical. And let me just remind you, Mr. Pearson, you told everybody that players had to stand and fall by performances. You was going to sack the players who realistically wasn't good enough to play for the Black and Whites. And simply, you were contradicting yourself by keeping these players and not bringing quality in, what you said you would do. And then also as well, finally, just in your first paragraph, I'm only just starting with you at the moment, and in the first paragraph you say, I should get a proper job now. Okay, and so are you saying everybody who works in the media, who covers Rugby League, through newspapers, through radio, through television, Is he saying it's not a proper job? Is he saying that people who work for Sky, people who work for the BBC, you guys who write about the game, you're proper journalists? You know, is he insulting everybody from there? You don't do a good job, so find yourself a proper job. So let me just say this to you, Adam. Look after your own. Look after your own place first before you start having a pop at other people. And one thing for sure, I don't get bullied into being controversial. I don't get bullied into what I say. All I do is comment on what I see, and if you don't like it, it's tough.
All right.
Good night. Thank you
Very good. That's it. The party political broadcast is over. I'm not sure what you said that is. I'm not sure what you said that's upsetting, because
I agree.
we've mentioned this last year when he came out and our recruiting's done next year, and they haven't bought anyone. And then he comes out when they're getting beat and goes, I'm going to get rid of players. There's people not trying, whatever. I'm going to get rid of them. And then he goes and buys players that they got rid of the year before. And all right, he signed some young kids, some exciting young kids. Your Louis Bennett came in, I'm going to say, probably a bit out of his depth in his opening year when he signed from London. Yeah. He'll be better. He's a good young player, we know that. Yeah. You know, they've signed Danny Langtry, 27 years old, from the Championship. Did really well at Oldham, highly rated. But is he making their squad better, or is he making it a little bit deeper should they get some injuries? Charlie Graham, been playing rugby union. Never heard of the kid, to be fair. Jordan Thompson, we know about. This is Jordan Thompson that, coincidentally, wasn't good enough to get in their best team when they got to Wembley twice in 2 years. Mm-hmm. So, as good as we think he is, Lee Radford clearly don't think he's good enough to play for Hull in the really big games. Matty Dawson-Jones scored tries at Lee, with the best one in the world. A lot of people would have scored tries playing in that Lee team. It was a very good Lee team. And Matty Dawson-Jones has been at Castleford, he's been at Huddersfield. Is he going to get in front of Talanua or Beretta Farino? Probably not. So again, is it just padding out the squad? And then there's Lenny Zongu. If I've said that wrong, I apologise. 20 years old. He's been at Saints, Salford, Melbourne and Toulouse. What does that say about you? 20 years old. Right. You're on your 5th big club already. Right. There's no one there I'm going, I'm going to go renew my season ticket.
Yeah, I just want to come in. Again there then, Max. Also as well, further into the column, Curry's paragraph, he goes on about all the stats about the injuries. The 600k we had in the stand, because of the salary cap and whatever. Well, that's tough. Every team gets injuries, so that's tough. So I don't buy into that rubbish as well, to be honest with you. And then also as well now, when you look at the whole squad, and you look at the other sides who have improved, and when I said that Hull are going to finish 9th, can anybody convince me that the way that Warrington have improved, St Helens have improved, Wigan have improved, Catalans have improved, Leeds have made quality signings, and can you tell me that Hull are going to be better than Cash, Huddersfield and Wakefield? No way, mate.
Surely the biggest worry for Hull, because they keep comparing themselves because of the nature of the city that they play in, is Hull KR. And you'd have to say at the moment, Kane Lynette, Mitch Garver, and the possibility of Josh Drinkwater is exactly the kind of signings Adam Pearson should have been making if he was serious about bringing in new blood for the squad that was going to make a real difference. I don't know if it's me, but well, it probably is. The call from Rob Elston was we need to promote players, that the whole of the future of Super League is going to be based around making players the personalities. And whilst there are some absolutely brilliant articles out there at the moment, all I seem to be reading about are chairmen or owners. We've had big interviews with David Hughes, and Adam Pearson's now got a lot of space. Carl Fitzpatrick had an interview. Neil Hudgill does a lot for his local paper. Should we not be getting away now from owners and chairmen wanting to give thousands and thousands of words and actually be reading about the guys that are on the field doing it?
And also as well, last year in my predictions, fellas, I predicted that Hull would finish 4th and that Hull would win the Challenge Cup for the 3rd time running. So if the Hull fans still, and also to Mr Pearson, if they think that, I don't like the black and whites and I don't want the black and whites to be successful, it's an absolute load of rubbish. As I said before I started, if Leeds don't win the treble, then I want Hull to win the treble, because Leeds are my team and Hull are my second team. But from what he's saying here, certainly from my point of view, we're being controversial and I should find a new job. So quite clearly, at this moment in time, he's saying, I'm doing a rubbish job in the media. Well, let me just say this, Mr. Peterson. I don't think you're doing a very good job yourself.
Let's just have a time out because our new technical guy is cocked up. What are you doing here?
So Facebook's fine, but apparently YouTube's a bit shit. So I'm going to go for that.
Oh, whoa! You're not on your Poxy show now. We're not swearing on our show.
So it's apparently not very good. So I'm going to go sort that, guys. But whilst Facebook's going to obviously try and stay on there, and we'll restart the stream and things like that. May I come in on Schoey's point real quick? Though?
When you've mended that.
Right.
No, go on, go on. Why didn't you use that one I told you to use?
I know, but it doesn't matter, right? To that end, Schoey, about what he's saying, obviously, about everything, and obviously, you're there to create controversy and everything.
No, he's not. No. That is not fair. That's not fair. He's not here to cause controversy.
Well,
he's here to say what he thinks.
Well, that's my point. I think it's a talking point. Well, that's the difference then, right?
Are they controversial or are they honest? And people don't like honesty. Serious question.
Exactly, Mark.
Serious question.
The facts we're backing up there. I'm open and honest what I say.
I'm not saying you're not. I'm not saying you're not. But let me ask you this: like regarding you personally. Does this sort of thing affect you?
No,
because exactly. No. So
because why should Tom, I'm not making things up. I'm only commenting on what I'm seeing.
But that's my point. So why is, for instance, someone else maybe like taking this maybe a bit too much to heart purely because of their club match?
You need to sort that out. Right. People are mourning. I'm getting more messages about you than I am anything else. So we're all right. We're just going to have a time out here. We're having a TV time like they do on the NFL because Tom's broken it.
Right.
What, everything?
Well, not everything. No. But he said he was better than me at using this thing.
I didn't say that.
He's messed
Never
it
said that.
That's what he said. That's what he said.
Going
Honestly,
back to the...
He's going to hit me now.
The debate.
Just wait. You're going to have to wait, Phil. We're having we're in TV timeout. Well, we want the YouTube people a bit away because they can't hear, apparently. Because Tom's broken it. Schoey's on his 148th biscuit, by the way, at this point in the proceedings.
The big news is that Schoey is wearing shoes.
Yeah, have you had a meeting today, Les? You've got trousers and shoes on.
Is it winter?
Have you been playing snooker or something? You been to the Barbican today, having knocking a few frames off?
I'll tell you what, I am. If Mr. Pearson said I was rubbish at snooker, I'd agree with that, because I can't play snooker. I just can't get the angles. Can't play snooker.
No vision and awareness on the snooker table?
No, to be honest. Believe it or not,
that would have been your game.
Phil, believe it or not, I haven't.
Sizing it up where the openings were.
Phil, have you seen Garry play golf? He hits it, he goes, where's that gone? Where's that gone? Where's it gone? Where's it gone? It's gone over there, mate. It's gone over.
Well, I do knock it 300 yards.
In the wrong direction.
Yeah, 120 yards that way, 180 yards that way. Yeah, 300, I think you're right.
After 4 shots, I knock it 300 yards.
Yeah. Very good. Have you mended it now, Tom? Have you mended it? Are we back on? We're live. We're okay. So for apologies for those that missed Schoey's rant, we'll put it out again on social media. Don't worry about that. He's had his right to reply. Look, the facts are this show is all about opinions. Schoey gives his opinion, as honest as he like. And the one thing I'll say about Garry, and I say this to anyone that I meet who's like, oh, Schoey does this, Schoey does that. Schoey would never say anything on this show that Schoey would not say to the player involved, the coach involved, whoever. And I think that should be, I think that should be admired. We've noticed it's quite hard. When we come out and criticise anything, and someone's ringing us up going, what are you saying that for? It's actually quite, you feel quite guilty that you've upset someone.
And not enough people will put their head above the parapet in the days where you're only allowed to be positive.
Yeah. Listen, fellas, as well. Like when I was playing, and even in my short coaching career as well, when I was playing and when I was coaching, one thing for sure, I didn't take a grudge with or moan about was criticism, because at the end of the day, and it's a great because he was massive in this from a point of view. Dean Bell, great bloke, Dean Bell, great player, and also too excellent coach. Love being coached by Dean Bell at Leeds. It's quite simple. With everybody, just do the mirror test. Just do the mirror test and just be honest with yourself. And that's exactly what I did as a player. And that's exactly what I did as a coach. And when I got criticised, I never complained about it. Because you know what? They were being honest about it. So people, again, I'm just repeating myself, and I'm sick of repeating myself about it. I'm not controversial. I'm open and honest on what I see. And if you don't like open and honesty, I'll tell you what, grow some crystals, because it's your problem, not mine.
Is that the problem? It's just the fact that, for instance, maybe Mr. Pearson here is taking it a bit too close to the bone?
No, I think we're at a very, very sensitive time for every club for selling season tickets. It's round about that Christmas period, everybody's thinking, oh, I need to get the new shirt, or the second shirt, or the third shirt, or in some clubs' cases, the fifth shirt. And any form of criticism that might derail somebody from investing in the club is taken personally by that club. I think it's brilliant that Hull have got over, is it 6,500?
7,000 this is.
Which is fantastic. When you
Absolutely.
you think that they're coming off the back of 11 successive defeats at the end of last year, there's nothing that you're going to say that's going to stop a Hull fan buying a season ticket.
Exactly.
It's all part of the debate. And if anything, people might be rallying behind the club just to say he got it wrong. So I just don't see, we said it before in the early part of the programme, which people may have missed. I think there's too much focus at the moment on owners and chairmen and not enough on the players and looking forward to what we're actually going to see on the field.
I agree.
Interesting.
But also,
for the record, for people that might not have seen or heard, where did you say Hull are going to finish? Where do you think they're going to finish?
Ninth. I said ninth.
You think ninth?
You know, and I say, when I look at certainly the squad, what they've got, and I say it's an 87. But also, well, one of the big situations for me is what's the style of play going to be? Are they going to, because they've got literally the same squad, so they're going to change the style of play. For me, they haven't signed an impact hooker. Because, as we all know, good a player what Danny Allen's been, he doesn't vary his game. So
is Jez Litton the answer, if he's given more game time?
Well, if he gives him more game time, yeah, he could be the answer, you know, from an impact point of view. And we all know the big pack, what they've got, the backs, as we've had this debate many times ourselves, Mark, every team does the same, look at play back off the penalties, and also just playing off the back of a Mark Sneed kicking game. Is that going to be enough for Hull? Moving for sure, they're not going to get anywhere near the top four. They're not going anywhere near the top four.
Well, it's top five. So
top five, and they're not going anywhere near the top five. So my question is, are they going to? Because I think I've done Cass 6, Wakefield 7, Huddersfield 8. That this whole squad is that better than Cass, Huddersfield, and Wakefield? In my opinion, it's not, and that's why they're going to finish ninth. You haven't below.
Well,
ninth.
I said here a couple of weeks ago, I think Hull Kingston Rovers will finish above Hull. I really do. And notice some of the
Especially
comments.
if they get Josh Drinkwater.
Well, some of the comments I've had coming in from Hull fans have been saying, if Hull KR had signed the players we've signed, we would have been having a great winter, taking the mickey out of what are you signing that for, who are you signing them for, why do you need them, why don't you get some proper players? And that's from Hull fans.
Yeah.
You know, they're not daft, are they? They're not daft.
But it's the promise that was made that there was going to be change, and the change hasn't taken the team forward. The issue for me for Hull is where are they going to play Jake Connor? Because he's their wild card.
He said he wants to play 6 as well.
So if he does, and if that changes the way they play, which is what you were talking about, what style they're going to play, if he is the maverick at 6, that could make a difference.
Well, where's he going to go?
Where's Albert?
Well, who's he going to drop then?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Isn't that a decision that also needs to be made?
Oh, without a doubt. Oh, yeah. Well, for me, the best halfback combination, but he won't drop Sneed because he plays off the back of the kicking game.
Hooker?
I wouldn't have an issue with that, but it wouldn't be the impact what you're looking for a hooker, to be honest with you. But it'd be a bit more variation around the ruck area from there.
And then if you needed to bring on somebody who's got a kicking game to get you out of trouble.
Well, Connor and Kelly have got decent kicking games from there, but from a creative point of view and for a more expansive game, I think you've got to look at Connor and Kelly, but he won't do that because, as we know, he rather certainly loves the way that what Sneed brings to the side from there, and the way with the crossfield kicks, the big wing is what they've got. That's right. They won 2 Challenge Cups playing that way. Simple as that.
Well, like Robin Sykes says here, Schoey, I'm fed up of you sitting on the fence. You're going to get some bloody splinters soon. Let me ask you this then, regarding obviously they've recruited quite a lot, but obviously they're not really. It's not like Leeds have gone for obviously the marquee players. Saints, of course, have brought in theirs. Blake Austin at Warrington, they're big names and things like that. But is it the fact that they've strengthened their squad so that the injury crisis of this year could be avoided?
What quality have they brought in?
I'm not saying that they brought in quality. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that they brought
in.
Let me finish.
All they've done is brought in numbers.
Exactly. But like for instance, Matty Dawson-Jones. I'm not saying that by all means he's a fantastic winger or a fantastic player, but could do a job, especially towards the back of the season.
As I've said to you, which of those players starts in week 1 when everyone's
But that's
fit?
not the point I'm making. That's not the point I'm asking you, Matt. The point I'm asking you here is towards the back end of the season, let's say they have a lot of injuries like that, will they come in and do a job? I think they will.
I think the issue is that a statement was made towards the back end of last season that things were going to change, and the recruitment doesn't hint at change.
Has he shot himself in the foot, Pearson, by panicking when clearly they were losing 11 on the spin? You know, and not only losing, conceding 70 odd and 80 odd, 70 odd at Wakefield and 80. A professional Super League team spending full salary cap conceding 80 points, right? Is not acceptable.
I don't think he shot himself in the foot on the basis of the fact that 7,000 people clearly are on point with supporting the team next year. I think the problem that they've got is one that's already been alluded to by the two colleagues at either side, is that other clubs have gone out and signed marquee type players. And I no doubt will talk about Wigan's acquisition of Jarrod Sammut, and is that more Hull or marquee? But I think there are at least 3 or 4 clubs who disappointed last year, who have made the kind of signings that would indicate that they're going to be better. But I think Hull's signings don't indicate that they're necessarily going to be better. They're better at coping with 2 or 3 players being out. That's not enough.
That's my point. Yeah.
I tell you what as well, fellas. You know, I know what an interesting factor is going to be as well, because all the press guys are beginning out the predictions before the season starts. And I would put my head on the chopping block. I've gone early, as I normally do, and I don't have an issue with that whatsoever. But I would imagine everybody who does their predictions, from all the press guys, because you'll be doing it as well, everybody who does it in the League Express, from Martin Sadler's point of view and Aaron Bauer and Matty Shaw, I would imagine most of them will have Hull either 8th or 9th. Well, will Mr. Pearson be calling them controversial? Will Mr. Pearson be amused at them?
They're not going to be that much. They're going to be around what they were last year, because they haven't made the changes to be anything other than that, which was round about 8th.
Correct, absolutely. So I think he's got to take a long hard look at himself here. He has. And one thing for sure, Adam, I ain't going to change. I'm not going to change. If you want to call it controversial, call it what you like. But one thing for sure, I'm not changing with my open and honesty.
We'll get to some social media with Tom in a sec, but I had quite a bit earlier on. Super League Robin, look, like we know he's a Rovers fan. Just says, Schoey's got it bang on about Hull FC. What do you think about Drinkwater going to Hull KR? Will Rovers now finish above Hull?
What do you do with Chris Atkin?
Well, that's what I'm saying about Atkin from there. Is he going to be the second hooker? It depends.
He can be.
Depends how much Lunt he's going to play from there. But I'm with the show. I wouldn't rule it out with the sound of Drinkwater, because that'd be a good combination between him and Maguire and Atkin as well from there. The bit of quality what they've added in Garbutt as well. So can Hulkinson Rovers finish above Hull? With the show, I wouldn't rule it out.
No,
wouldn't
exactly.
rule it
out. The first game of the season is even more interesting now, isn't
it? Certainly is. Paul says, I'm quite glad Schoey tipped Hull to have a terrible year. If I remember correctly, didn't he do the same about London last year? It's worth a few quid on Hull winning the grand final next year. How much do you want on, Paul? We'll take you bet. People also getting in, wanting to know about the Toronto thing. We'll have a look at that in a minute. FC Monkey's just laughing about Adam Pearson reacting to you. And then John says, I hope you're right regarding Hull FC, because the shower on the other side of the river are recruiting well. So they're admitting some Hull fans that actually Rovers, there's a bit of a begrudging credit there. You mentioned Garbutt, you said there. Do you look at their team, is it better than last year? Yeah, it is. You'd have to say it is.
And they made a conscious decision that they were going to let a raft of players go. And they bought in less, but the players that they bought in are proven quality.
Now that might bite them on the back. If they have a Hull-style injury crisis, then they might come short with that. But at the same time, as we say every year, every squad's the same. You need luck with injuries. No matter how many good players you've got, you need a bit of luck.
Yeah, people are obviously getting in touch with what Schoey's had to say. Some probably not broadcastable, but... Coming back to one, there's one here that Derek's put in, and I'm keen to see what Schoey makes of this one. Derek Tomo Tomlinson, Connor at loose forward, and have Sneed and Kelly as well.
I wouldn't say no to that, to be honest with you. Connor needs to be where the ball is. He needs to have more involvement. It's as simple as that. Connor makes things happen rather than wait for things to happen. So I don't have an issue with Connor at being at loose forward. But as Phil mentioned from there, Sneed as a second backup hooker. Yes, but as we all know, Radders, he relies on so much with his kicking game from there. So that's not going to happen. He's not going to drop Sneed week in and week out. But Connor at loose forward, certainly not.
My only worry with Connor at loose forward is 2 things. One is loose forwards these days tend to be bigger physical. It's almost like the third prop. And you're going to have to do a lot of tackling. I don't want him to be doing a lot of tackling. I want him to be drifting in and out the game as the maverick that he can be and creating stuff. And I'm not sure you can do that.
Well, can I say what I said last year, and I said this on the show, he's got to sacrifice Danny Houghton, because Danny Houghton, when they had all those injuries, and he put Litton, you mentioned Litton, when they played at Warrington when they conceded 80, they brought Litton on, and Hull actually looked for 15 minutes like they might score a try, because he's quick, he's alert, he lacked game time. You could see his timing was a bit off, but you can't get that when you sat in the stand every week. I think they should have gone out and bought a hooker. Play Danny Houghton at 13, because you said, don't matter how big you are, you run at Danny Houghton, he's going to tackle you. You can have a tank, he'd still stop a tank. So play him at loose forward, get a bit more out of Danny Houghton, because it's easy for me to sit here, right? Danny Houghton is a legend of a player, and what he is at Hull, I get it. He's a tackling machine, he's a great player, he's a great bloke, and I've ever been in his company, he's a top fella. But if you give every coach in Super League, right, you can have any number 9 in Super League, how many are actually going to pick Danny Houghton? That's not to say he's not a good player, but he's not what you want out of a number 9. You mentioned explosive, creating, doing this, doing that. He doesn't do
I think
that.
There's a case for saying that even if he still plays 80 minutes, which he's fully capable of doing, that maybe 40 or 50 of those minutes should be a hooker, and the other 20,
put him in the back row,
30,
rest one of your forwards.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
But you'd have to have then a second option at hooker.
That's it.
Now,
and has Litton had enough game time for him to become a game manager? And that's the big question, isn't it?
Maybe you have to start off the season with him on the bench and make a commitment.
That won't happen. That one will start. Don't worry about that.
No. Start maybe, but if Litton's told he's going to get 20 minutes every game for the first 4 games of the season, and then it's down to how he plays, then
it's an interesting one, isn't it?
I would have signed, as you say, a bespoke backup hooker.
Have they been too loyal to the existing group that won at Wembley?
Can we just be honest though? Like, you're talking about a player that was the man of steel only 2 years ago.
Oh,
I think you're almost.
No. We're all admirers of Danny Houghton.
We're not saying Danny Houghton's no good.
No, but he almost
Hull need to play him in a different role.
My worry with Danny Houghton, and it's always been the same, is that if he's making 60 tackles, somebody else isn't making enough, and it's blunting his ability to shape the attack because he's so good at defence. So
does that come down to the coach, or do you think Danny's in a position where he sees his role as just doing that? He's not, I don't know, like we've certainly not seen obviously the creative side as you've alluded to, Mark, but at the end of the day, like those tackles won them a Challenge Cup.
Yeah, but
did they, or did Ben Curry dropping the ball win him a Challenge Cup?
No,
let's be honest. Ben Curry did drop the ball. If he hadn't dropped it, he would have scored.
Well, if Danny Houghton wasn't there for the tackle, he goes over.
Look, I'm not questioning Danny Houghton as a player or as a man. He would play on the wing if Lee Radford told him. He would play at fullback. He'd do anything, cut the grass, whatever. But we're talking. He's got a limited squad now. They have signed up all their players long term on good money. And now all of a sudden you've got nowhere to go. And when those players stop performing, you're knackered. And we've had it at Leeds. Leeds have done the same, and they've gone through
every club's gone through that, where they've retained rather than recruited, and it hurts you.
And you see also as well, the big point for the Black and Whites is simple. They're coming off the back of 11 hammerings.
Where do they start? What are the fixtures next?
Well, that's the thing, though. People have been going.
Is that at home or away?
Determines.
Yeah, correct. So the pressure straight away is not just on Pearson, not just on Radders, it's on the players. So the pressure's on because of the pathetic way they finished last season, 11 where they literally got hammered, and also as well. And I say I'm not a cheerleader, me as a pundit. I'm not a cheerleader as a media guy. And first of all, I just want to say, people have told me about what Brian Carney said about me. Thanks very much, Brian Carney, if you do listen to our podcast, full of nice words what he said, and I fully appreciate what he said. I'm not a cheerleader as a journalist. I tell it as it is. And when you watched when Castleford played the Black and Whites at the K-Con, Castleford didn't even get out of reverse. Never mind getting to fifth gear. And to be honest with you, that was a week after they'd been hammered by Warrington. And as Brian Carney says about the cheerleaders on the television, all they were saying was, tell you what, you've got to admire this whole side, because they haven't been hammered this week. I think the score finished about 28-10. You know what? They've kept going. What an absolute load of tosh. Is that what the whole fans wanted to see? Because Castleford, as I said, didn't get out of reverse. But the pressure is on the Black and White because they're on 11 unbeaten.
11 losses, 11 without.
Well, that's what I'm saying. 11 losses on the bounce. They've got the Red and Whites, the first game of the season. Pressure. Tell you what, they need to handle the pressure the first game of 2019.
They'll look and say, look, that team, you look at the squad, it's a very good team. They've got good players, but you scratch beneath the surface, I'm not sure they've got enough, and I think that was proven last year.
The issue is more, there was in inverted commas, promise made when things started to go wrong and badly wrong last year, and I don't think that promise has been fulfilled in terms of recruitment. That's why, as the chairman stroke owner, I wouldn't be.
Well, my point is, he came out and went, he was highly delighted with the team, and then 3 weeks later he said, oh, we're going to get rid of people out. So I think there was even an accusation people weren't trying what they were going to dig out people. I think that phrase was used, they were going to dig some people out. Well, I ain't seen anyone leave, so they haven't dug anyone out, have they? So, look, I just think, I read that and I think, you're showing signs already, mate. 2 defeats early on, and people will be asking questions there. And if you're not asking questions of the coach, you're asking questions of the people.
Well, do you know what, Mark, as well? Because I've had some people phone me up today, and also too, I think there's been a bit of reaction on Twitter from there with what Pearson said. I'll tell you what, he's under pressure straight away.
Yeah.
He's under pressure straight away.
He is. Yeah,
because of what he said at the end of last season. So don't be blaming me for being controversial. You know, don't be blaming me because, you know, you're amused at what I say. Listen, take a bit of advice. Just take a bit of advice sometimes.
Or keep your counsel.
Or keep your trap shut. Simple as that.
I think counsel is probably a better.
I look forward to your hospitality invite. And mine as well, actually.
I'm looking forward to him not getting in the car park.
Hey, listen.
Don't worry. Schoey gets in the car park at all every time.
Listen, fellas, as I've said, Leeds Rugby League Club is my club. I want them to win the treble. If Leeds can't win the treble, I want the black and whites to win the trebles. There I go. They are my second side. They are my second side who I support. Are they good enough to win any trophies next year? Not a cat in hell's chance.
Plenty of comments coming in as ever. People asking about, what did you predict London last year, Schoey, says James, right?
9th, didn't I?
Well, I mean, does that not maybe worry you?
No. No. Also, as well, fellas, Mark will tell as well, because he's quite complimentary at times to me when people do question what I do say. I say what I say because I believe in it, and I think also too, I can back up the reasons why I said it. And the reason why I said London will not make the top 8 last year was quite simple. The Henderson factor. Would the players give the respect what Danny Ward deserved? Would Danny get a reaction from the players? One thing for sure, I was totally proved wrong. The players loved playing for Danny Ward. They gave him respect, and what Danny Ward and Langley got out of his players were quite simple. They got consistency week in and week out. They enjoyed the rugby league from there, and it just proved, a matter of fact, that it's not all about coaching, about your man management. Let the players express themselves, play with that smile on the face, and you get results, and that's exactly what London did last year. But one thing for sure, it won't be happening at the K-Con this year with the black and whites. Well, no way, mate.
Robin says Hull KR are dark horses. I think lots of people are talking about that. Over on YouTube, keep your comments coming in. Loads of people talking about...
Have you mended it now?
Yes. Thanks.
Oh, okay.
Westerman,
to clarify that.
Westerman at loose forward says 22. Connor over Sneed says Ben Long. A little bit of sizist from Rommel saying about Albert Kelly, saying... basically, it doesn't look fit. I think, obviously, most people...
I don't think you can read anything into it.
I don't think you can read into that, yeah.
No, look at me and Schoey. We'll be ready, don't we?
I suspect
Christmas
Albert Kelly's wearing 74 layers as well.
And then people are confused why Richard's not here. He doesn't like you, doesn't care for you, and that's why he's not here.
One
rant.
I'm starting to think we're being sabotaged from within here. First, you mess up the thing that you didn't do as you were told to do.
Hey, I tell you what,
now you're criticising our listeners.
He calls himself a Leeds fan. He's working at Cass. He's got the Cass tops on now. What's all
you
that
should
about?
have seen him kissing the badge.
I did not kiss the badge.
You did.
I'm not having this, right? People asking about Greece. What's going on with that, Phil? I've got the comment up here asking about what's going on with the Greece games.
Is this with them having to play like at midnight? Is this right? That
they did. There was the problem in Greece is that there was a previous administration, that somebody who was linked to the government of Greece as well, that gave out accreditation to rugby league. That was then all bought under another sport, and there's been a change of administration to make sure that rugby league has its own governance and is its own self-determination. And that has meant that because the previous gentleman who is involved with the government in some way can deny facilities, there's been some clandestine games played just to make sure that they were played. When Greece played in the playoff game to determine that they're still in World Cup qualification, we couldn't advertise when and where that game was going to be played, on the basis of the fact that we didn't want any official turning up at the ground and saying, this game can't go ahead.
So what Stuart's basically asked is it being played in secret?
No, I don't think. I think there are games being played on places like the Islander Roads where they are the leaders in rugby league. They've got the best team. Greece themselves are due to play Norway in the early part of next year to stay in World Cup contention, which will be a fantastic game. That was always going to be played on neutral territory. Could even be over here. Keep an eye out for the venue for that, because that will be a game worth seeing. If Greece were to beat Norway, and I think because of their access to heritage players, Greece would be favourites for that, then they're in the next 6 that have the chance of qualifying for the World Cup in Europe. They'd be third seeded, joint third seeded, so again it would be a difficult ask for them, but if they can count on some heritage players, you wouldn't rule them out of maybe even getting to the next phase of qualifying for the World Cup. So I think there is some healthy stuff going on in Greece. It's just political shenanigans with the previous administration.
So if people were to wanting to keep up with that, how would they do that, Phil?
I think they've got a Greek Rugby League, got a website. I would log on to that.
Plenty of comments about Sammut, by the way.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. Derek Tomlinson says Minicello, Manu, Washbrook should have all been released. Griffin moved into the forwards as a strike runner, Westerman in the second row.
Hey, listen, let me just say this as well. The whole fans, you know, as we said earlier, they're not stupid. They're not stupid. They know themselves they're in for a long, hard season because they know this squad is not good enough. They haven't made any signings. There's some players who were there in that Hull side who were journeymen, and they should have been let go. The Hull fans aren't daft. They're not stupid.
Fair enough. Enough of this Hull in Crisis special. Let's get back to talking about the main issues, i.e. Leeds. What Leeds? Why? Why
Trent
Leeds?
Merrin arrives tomorrow.
What do you
Conrad
want me
Hull's
to do? Lay me coat on the floor for a walk?
No crisis at the moment.
Phil,
There's no crisis in Leeds. You give it 3 weeks.
Phil, I spoke to somebody as well. Spoke to somebody as well today. Trent Merrin. Has he come as a marquee signing? And somebody said to me a figure.
I don't know any figures.
Well, I know, but as we all know, Gary's very conservative, and I know it's a marquee signing, but the figure I was told today for Trent Merrin, bearing in mind he's a back rower, so he's not going to win you many games. He'll keep you in games because he's a good defensive player, but I had a figure of £400,000. Leeds
is that every year or over the 4-year contract?
Well, a season. That Leeds won't be paid out, would they?
I'd be surprised, but...
Yeah, I said no way, mate.
I'm not a player agent, so I don't know what they're going
I said I don't think Leeds would pay that for a player. £400,000 a season for a back row.
Well, and they've got 2, so you'd think that the other marquee signing would.
I don't want to cause everybody knocking on doors now at Gary's door. But
I haven't heard that there's been any dissent.
Callum Watkins just gone, how are you doing, Conrad? What are you getting paid by it? How much? How much?
Yeah, but when I thought for a back rower.
He's going to take some serious money to get him out.
Yeah, but my thought was quite simple. Gary would have paid for it.
I don't think Gary's necessarily in charge at Leeds anymore. He might be in name, but I don't think he is in reality. Because if he was,
but also they
wouldn't have signed him.
But Mr. Caddick's a very smart businessman. He hasn't made his few quid by just letting anybody have anything. To be honest with you, Mark, has he?
Yeah, fair news.
He owns Monk Fryston.
He owns plenty, don't we? Well, I suppose it's
the king.
Very good. So you mentioned Jarrod Sammut then. Tom, what's been said about Jarrod Sammut? Of course, he's signed for Wigan, 2-year deal. What do we make of that?
Well, plenty of people are getting in touch, and I think they're questioning it. So people are obviously can't seem to find the one that was saying basically, are they mad? Are they mad?
Well, is it a Wigan fan or is it?
It strikes me as a bit of a Hull fan considering the amount of comments they were talking about Hull. But
let's have a look at it then. Sammut, 2-year deal. I thought he did a great interview in the media last week, saying, "Look, I never wanted to leave, but something's happened behind the scenes, and it was tough." So I think we should pay him absolute credit for his performances to get London promoted. I think that. Too often we don't know what's happening behind the scenes, and for a guy, if he's got issues at home, that's what they are, but he said he had some issues.
Well, I think his family were living in Cleckheaton.
Yeah.
And he was commuting to
London.
Yeah,
and as I live a couple of miles from Cleckheaton, that's a long way to London.
It's a fair way to Wigan with the M62.
Yeah, it is. So credit to him for that. A lot of people I've spoken to say, well, is that London getting relegated because they've lost one of the best players? But he's gone to Wigan. I don't think anyone expected that, Schoey.
No, and I said in my column about it today. It's this signing's going to be a wow signing, or it's going to be an absolute disaster. And also the reason why I say that is because AJ Lamb, when I heard his interview a couple of weeks ago, he's looking to play a more expansive game and he's looking to play a more attractive game, which absolutely delighted with. Jarrod Sammut, is he going to be the player where he takes a lot of pressure off George Williams? Because, as I say about George needs to be a lot further away from the ruck area to make sure he gets the open space for his creativity. So is Jarrod Sammut going to be that organiser to get Wigan in the right field position for the creativity point of view? I've not seen that in him, but what I do see in Sammut is he's a maverick of a rugby league player. I think he's a quality rugby league player, but he's the sort of player what will get Wigan where they want to get to. So it's either going to be a brilliant signing or it's going to be an absolute disaster. But also as well, the question what I put in the League Express was simple. He signed a 2-year deal, so that tells me Sean Edwards has been on this signing, because you can't tell me that Sean Edwards, even up to now, and he doesn't come in until 2020, he's not having influence of the way he wants Wigan to play and also to the signings. So there's 2 points there. It's going to be brilliant or a nightmare signing, and Edwards had influence on this as well.
When we obviously learned quite quickly that Sean Wayne was going, and there was a lot of speculation to why he was going. We went down the route of the fact that we'd understood that they'd approached Sean Edwards and word had got out and he's walked out. We were contacted by people at the club, high up in the club, who obviously know more than we do what's happening at Wigan. And they were quick to rubbish that rumour. But there was another rumour, very strong rumour, that Wigan are cutting back on their spending. They're not even going to be spending salary cap. Now this signing would fit in along with that, wouldn't it? That they're penny pinching. They've lost Bateman.
Well,
they've lost Sam Tompkins. They're cutting their. They've lost McAlorum.
I think it tells you where they're fishing at the moment.
Yeah.
Which is not to say that Jarrod Sammut isn't a good signing. It might be exactly what they need.
Yeah.
I think it's brilliant as well. At 31, he's getting the opportunity to showcase himself with the champions on the biggest stage. So full credit to Jarrod Sammut for playing well enough to get a contract with the best team in the league as we kick off the 2019 season. And I think he can bring them something. I think he does offer something that they don't have at the moment, and that is unstructured. You will not fit Jarrod Sammut necessarily into an 80-minute game plan. There will be times during that when he's on the field where we'll see something, he'll do something, and the other players around him that play in the same team will have to react to that, which is not necessarily the way Wigan have played under Sean Wayne.
Do you think he'll play much?
That's the other thing.
I think he will, Matt, because he signed a 2-year deal.
Where do you... I mean, obviously, I think Tommy Luluai's coming towards the end of his career. He needs a bit of cover. Do we know... I don't know. What is Sam Powell's best position? Is it 7 or is it 9? Or is it between the two of them? In which case, to have Sammut in the mix gives you options.
I think Powell's become for me a number 9. I think he's a phenomenal.
The hookers for Wigan next year will be Powell and Luluai.
But I think
Sammut starts for me.
Sammut starts.
Sammut, George Williams. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
In which case, I hope he is an immense success, and I hope he brings them a different dimension. Yeah. I just think it tells you that buying a 31-year-old to replace the calibre of players that have moved on, and we've seen the pictures today of Sam Tompkins at his first training session with the Dragons, and it looks odd. I mean, it looked great for the Dragons, absolutely fantastic, but it just seems odd him wearing that shirt and not a Wigan shirt. The problem is, if we go now and say Sammut is a signing that smacks at the salary cap not being fully spent, and we sit here in 10 months' time and we're going to have won the title again, which they're quite capable of doing, because nobody really picked them halfway through this season.
Liam Finn signed from Featherstone to Castleford. Look what he did. I know the different players, but it's not to say they can't work.
Absolutely. Now, I think it just says what waters they're fishing in.
Yeah.
It doesn't say anything about the calibre of the player that they've signed.
Can you imagine the conversation that Sammut had when his agent went, Jarrod, what way we off? We're working in Swinton.
Part-time?
No, a bit higher than that. Bradford, you can imagine. Wigan. We're off to Wigan.
Well, he said when he got the phone call, Wigan is spewed up. That's what he said. That's what he said in league. He was physically sick of Wigan for me, but also too. I didn't see a lot of him at Wakefield. How did he do at Wakefield when he played in Super League? How did he do there?
I don't look. I think he's hit and miss, isn't he? He can be brilliant.
Oh, he's that maverick player.
But I think he was great last year because he achieved a level of consistency in a team that overachieved.
I was just going to say that, Phil. The thing for him at Wigan is going to be consistent. What Wigan want him to do, week in and week out, is be consistent in the performance, how they want him to play. And I would imagine, because Lammy has been the halfback, and also to Edwards and all, because don't be fooled by that. Edwards will be doing plenty behind the scenes up there. But I would imagine they'll be saying to Jarrod, hey, listen, we're going to play to this so-called structure from there, but if you see something, we won't be putting you off by doing that. But you've got to, I guess from a point of view, do it at the right time, and making sure it's not putting us under a bit of pressure, what's really not necessary. But also as well, Christmas is just round the corner. Sammut will be thinking, my Christmas has come already in 18, 19, and hopefully I might get another year after that into 2020. This kid here, if he lives at Clackheaton, he won't be getting the car, he'll be running there because he'll be quicker than the reindeers, what Santa Claus is usually, because he'll be absolutely buzzing for the kid. And as I say, I hope it works out for him, because he deserves, okay, he's taking the position as a halfback being Australian, but one with the show, he deserves an opportunity. And Adrian Lamb, if he's giving him there, changing the style of play, I applaud it. But it's either going to be sensational, or it's going to be a disaster.
Or he's going to be a brilliant link with Zach Hardacre, because the one thing that nobody's speaking about, because we don't know what the situation is with Zach at the moment. Hopefully, whatever recovery he's needed, he's going through, and he may even have started training again. But he, out the back, is everything a half-back needs. And if Sammut is the kind of guy that can bring Hardacre into play, Wigan are already playing a different style, and they've got different attacking options. So I hope he's a huge success, but it will depend on who he's got playing.
I'll tell you what, fellas, one thing for sure, I don't think you'd would ever hear me say this. Me being a Leeds man, being a Yorkshire man, and saying this about Wigan. Do you know what? I'm looking forward to seeing Wigan play next year. Believe that, Wigan fans. I'm looking forward to seeing them play next year. I'm looking forward to the
World Club Challenge. That's the game I can't wait.
Looking forward to seeing the Pie Eaters play next year.
There's loads of talk about this. So I want to kick it off with what Jules has asked on Facebook, saying, and I want to go down the line, simple yes or no. Would Sean Wayne have signed Sammut?
No.
I've got to agree, I don't think he would. Mark's got in touch saying it would be very interesting to see how he performs in a better quality team. It could be good value for money player for him. Yeah. I think I agree with that. And then,
what about if Hull had signed Jarrod Sammut?
And I mean,
again, going back to, I don't want to keep going over the ground that we've gone over, but I think that would have been a little bit of, we're going to vary the way we could play. That gives us some options. But it's Wigan that have done that, and I think that sums up how this.
We don't know what they've paid for him. We might be getting paid peanuts. We don't know.
I don't think it'll be huge.
Yeah, so it could either be a wow thing, but if he wins 3 games,
but if he's
big games or a quarter final,
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what I know behind that pack of forwards, because one thing what Jarrod is, he's a good support player. He can play with that vision and awareness, and he's got speed. So if he's playing behind that pack of forwards and they're hitting the straps, and they want somebody to score tries 30-40 metres out. Nice little pass offload. That kid can support, and he can score tries.
And he's a good goal kicker, which again, Sam Tompkins has gone.
Yeah,
no reason to bring him in.
Dave Sinclair saying, I think Sammut's a class player. They haven't been given a chance at a big club. Hope he does well at Wigan, and he's a Leeds fan. To that end as well, you talked about his age being 31. Was that you, Mark? I think it was. Phil. Sorry, Phil. The thing is as well, you've been proven with someone like QLT at 33. No matter your age, if you get that sort of chance, you're going to grasp it with both hands. So I am actually really looking forward to seeing that. I think it's probably one of the more interesting signings in terms of, like Schoey says, I think it'll either be good or bad.
I think it's interesting because it's not one that was predicted.
No.
A lot of the signings, but the excitement at the moment, even though a ball hasn't yet been kicked, is that we genuinely don't know how some of the players who are coming into Super League are going to go. There's no predictability at some clubs. So, take Conrad Horrell, who's arrived this week with his beaming smile, and pledged to make a go of a big deal at Leeds. If I wasn't a Leeds fan, I'd quite want to watch Conrad Horrell just to see how he's going to go. I think he brings something with him that Super League hasn't had for a couple of years, a potential excitement. I think Sammut's the same. I would be happy to go and watch Wigan play on the basis of the fact that I don't know what Jarrod Sammut's going to bring to that team, but I'd quite like to see how it unfolds.
Just so you know, you have upset someone on Twitter.
Well, it probably isn't for the first time.
Phil, again, with Wigan digs. Leeds have got Luke Briscoe on the wing. He'd be 5th choice at the Warriors.
Where's the Wigan dig?
Where's
I
the
haven't
Wigan
heard
dig?
that.
I haven't heard that. And the other thing is, Luke Briscoe won't be on Leeds' wing. It'll start with Ash Handley. That's why he's got the number 5 shirt.
Interesting. Speaking of the shirts and things like that, obviously Wigan left the number blank, and that's fine and everything. Do we need to get to a point where perhaps we need to drop the names and just have the starting 1 to 13 on a match day?
I don't know.
It was the ability to sell shirts, wasn't it?
Yeah, I suppose, and obviously on the retail
it's a
market.
commercial reason why they did it.
Yeah.
But how many shirts do you see with actual names and numbers on? I don't think it's that many, is it?
Nah, there's quite a few. I think there are quite, particularly young supporters do have their favourites, and before the start of every season want to get their name on the back of the shirt. So yeah, I think it.
But I'm picking
work.
the players that play that if fit play every week anyway, so they'll be in the number 1 or the number 7 or whatever.
And I'm not even sure how much numbers matter, because some players traditionally have always kept the same number. Some are very superstitious about the number that they get. Some regard it as their elevation into the top 13. You can read in it either way if you want.
I've asked also marquee signings, who's been the best one for Super League. Someone's already said Coote. I think that's got to be proven yet, but we'll see.
I'm not even sure he's a marquee sign. I think he's a very good sign. But I don't know if he's coming as a marquee player.
He's got to be on a hell of a wage, though, surely, Phil.
I don't know, because I think, as we said last week, what the Saints have done is spread their squad. They had their marquee player in Ben Barber. He clearly was being paid an amount of money as a marquee. He's now not there, and they've signed 3 very, very good players. Now, I suspect that one or other might be a marquee, but it'll be a more even load.
Mine's Blake Austin. I can't wait.
But he hasn't played yet.
No. The reason why I say it, Tom, is because when I saw his column in the league, especially a couple of weeks ago, he's coming over with the right attitude. He's not coming here for a holiday. He wants to do well. He wants to get Warrington where they want to get to. I'm really excited about him. I've seen him play in Canberra plenty of times. When you talk about a maverick player and somebody who can organise, this kid can do a lot. So I'm hoping he's true to his word. He's going to get ripped in at training. He's going to make sure that he gets the respect to the players, and he wants to be that final piece of the jigsaw, as we all know. Not just getting to Old Trafford, but he wants them to win that grand final. I can't wait to see him play in the Warrington
You
jersey.
say final piece of a jigsaw. The marquee player next year could be Gareth Wigan. He's already said that he's certainly playing 2019 with St George, but he's given them notice that he probably won't be there till 2021 because he wants to come and play in Super League, something he's never done before. He went over to Australia as a 14-year-old from the community game here. He's made his name in Australia, but he wants to finish his career over here.
He'll be another Warrington player.
Well,
Kevin Brown.
I was going to say, how are they undercapped then?
Marquee player.
What I was going to say, picking you up on the Blake Austin thing, if you put Austin and Wood up together, that is a winning combination.
Well, he'll be going to Warrington one because Kevin Brown will be coming at the end of his term next season.
Saints apparently are in for him. But
he'll be Warrington.
I can see Warrington.
He'll be Warrington without a doubt.
And no Wigan? Don't think Wigan might be saving up for him?
No, I don't think so. He'll be
Leeds?
Warrington. He'll be Warrington. No.
I think Leeds have got their 2 marquee players for the next 3 or 4 years, so I think that rules them out. I think he has to come as a marquee signing.
If they're playing more than 400 grand,
I'll tell you what.
Well, we'd win at one.
If I was Adam Pearson, I wouldn't be saying anything until I'd signed Gareth Wood up as my marquee player for next year.
Stop saying controversial things. He won't like it, Pearson.
That's what I'd want to
Hey,
be
listen, if
talking
you're
about.
saying controversial things, go get a proper job.
Yeah.
Now, as he says.
You're going to stop selling books.
Out on the scaffold.
Go get a proper job. Stop writing about this game. Stop promoting Rugby League. Go get a proper job.
Such a cheerleader, Phil.
Yeah, there's a cheerleader.
Coming back to really quickly about the 1 to 13, Beddy makes a good point, saying 1 to 13 numbers helps newcomers to the sport understand positions easier.
Yeah, that.
I think that'd be quite a good idea. Maybe.
Wasn't there a football game that was on the other day that I half caught where somebody was wearing something like 52 or something?
Phil, if no one understands football, then I think that it's a bit. I don't know how to say that. I don't know, but I think that's a bit silly. But rugby league, in the sense that look at rugby union, you can almost explain it because of that. And I know we don't want to mention the other code, but I think that's an example of where we can maybe.
See, what they used to do is they used to say, you see all them fat lads, right? Their job is they just run it in, and then all these little skinny boys, they score all tries. That's what they used to say, innit?
We've got a good front pack here.
Now when people say me, they go, when they say me, you could run 50 yards, could you? Hold on, I could do 80.
Say to you now, you couldn't run a bath, mate.
It's a bit harsh. It's a bit harsh, lad. You'll be going where Peterson's going, lad, soon. Don't worry about that.
Speaking about marquee players, Robert Hess saying that Conrad Hurrell, as a marquee player, he's going to kill defenders. Exciting times at Leeds. Over on YouTube, keep your comments coming in there, and thank you very much to everyone. Obviously, apologies about the tech issues. Wigan might, if Williams goes the other way, he won't be at Wigan too much longer. Now, Williams is interesting as a marquee player, and I don't know if I were a Wigan fan, would I be happy calling him a marquee player when I could perhaps get someone, i.e. Blake Austin? Gareth Widham, yeah, exactly. So if you
I reckon he has rumoured himself he wants to go to the NRL, and then that quickly got quashed, didn't
George, yeah. But when you look at the Widham situation, right, what's Gareth now? He's 30 years of age, isn't he?
I think he's a little bit younger.
So then when he comes here, he'll be knocking on the door of 32. Will he have that same quality?
Yeah, he's 29 currently.
Will he have that same quality, Gareth? Oh, well, that's right. Well, he's going Warrington, don't worry about that. That's where he's going. Kevin Brown, he'll retire next year. No, he'll be going Warrington, without a doubt.
We've been also asked about, obviously, the Hull KR. We haven't mentioned it, obviously, just yet, but the Hull KR floodlight falling.
Yeah, firstly, good job no one got hurt. I think that's the first thing we do see.
Yeah.
What I've heard about it. Obviously, I've not looked into it. I mean, I'm presuming
part of the stadium is still closed.
Right.
Work still being done.
Which end's it at? Where the new stand is?
I'm not sure.
Not sure. Right.
But it fell on the pitch, so I think we should be extremely thankful.
It happened at that time, and not when. Yeah, obviously. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. I mean, it is a worry, and I'm sure Mr. Hudgell and Crossland will be sorting that out as we speak, and we hope they do get that sorted out.
I tell you what, we mentioned as well with that marquee signing when you mentioned there, Tom. And Leeds have got two, and again, just in the League Express, the standoff who's come to Leeds, Lola here again. Well, what he said in the League Express interview, he's come to prove a point because at the Warriors and at the West Tigers, he had a spell, but then he got put in reserve grade, and then he was used as a utility player. So now he wants to get rid of that utility tag. He wants to prove himself as a quality number 6. So what I'm hearing now from these overseas players who are coming, they want to re-establish themselves. All right, if they want to re-establish themselves because they want to go back to the NRL, well, that's their choice. But for the contracts, what they have signed for, Lahair's signed for 3 years, Austin's 2 or 3 years from there. They're coming with the right attitude, and I'm liking the sound of that, fellas.
You know what I don't mind about the foreigners coming over is when they have got a point to prove, and maybe when they do want to go home, because that means he ain't coming here for his rubbing his hands together and collecting all the money. He's actually saying, look, if I do really, really well at Leeds, I might get an upgraded contract, or I might get a move back to the NRL. And that suits Leeds. If he's playing well enough where somebody in the NRL goes, we're having him.
It's the same with coaches as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't see there's anything wrong with that.
Coaches who come here that want to build a reputation to go back to the NRL, they've got to coach at a really high level to get noticed.
Do we, as a sport, and we've mentioned this before, do we need to look at the rules regarding work permits? Because we've seen the Aussie kids over here, they've played a couple of 2-3 games, and people are already saying they'll be in the NRL in 18 months, they'll be playing in the NRL.
Well, the schoolboys
but we can't sign those players. I know the schoolboys, we can't sign them now, but they won't get a permit to come to England. But are those the type of guy? And people say, well, they're only taking the place of the young English lads. But you get an Aussie at 18 who could be a world beater, you get him for 2 years. Is that a gamble worth taking?
Our good friend Carl Hall did that. Came over with the New Zealand schoolboys, signed for Doncaster as a 17-year-old. Absolutely ripped it up. He was sensational. So yeah, I think that you've got, where we are at the moment as a sport, you've got to have the ability to get anybody that you think is going to put bums on seats. Yeah,
I know you're pulling a face, Legs, but there's been, from what I'm hearing, it's some great. I haven't seen the games.
There's at least 3 on what I've seen so far. Yeah. You would immediately pick out. And so the hooker Gray is brilliant, although I think he's already contracted to Canterbury. But again, you might even say to Canterbury, 2 years over here, and then you can have him back as more of a finished article. Yeah, because he ain't going to play in your first team.
Hold on, Robert Elson's here with a T. Or is it Nigel Wood? Or is it, who else? We got a Twitter poll last week. Who was it on the list? Robert Elson, Nigel Wood, who's Ralph, who was the other one? Anyway, Ralph, they don't know who we are, so it's none of them. It's none of them.
It's the hand of God.
It's the hand of God. It's like Maradona, just sending them through. So let us know. I know Schoey's pulling a face there about the young kid, but I just wonder You get them.
Absolutely.
You're not going to pay a lot of money for them. You could get a world beater in
Robbie
the thing.
Paul.
Yeah, come on. I remember watching Robbie Paul's first game.
Nobody knew who
he was.
So
awful.
We'd seen him
absolutely
play
awful
again for the New Zealand schoolboys at Wembley against England, and then all of a sudden he's over here.
They played him at fullback at Halifax, right, and he didn't look like he could catch a cold or tackle a good dinner.
He did all right.
And he did all right, didn't he? So it's, you know what I mean?
Well, let me do a response to that. What I would like to see then, if we're saying about that 18, 19-year-olds coming over here for a couple of years, then why can't we then alternatively, our kids who are playing for the England Academy, if they, say for instance, are coming from the Roosters or the Cameron, what have you, however that youngster comes from that district, we send one over there for 2 years to see how good they are, and then vice versa. That's
absolutely
what I would like to see.
Mm.
Yeah, but overall, then taking our kids' places, no. But if we could do a transfer for 2 or 3 years where vice versa, they come here, we go there, which then we can improve them. They improve our talent. I'll buy into that any day of the week.
Well, maybe that's something we need to look at.
I agree, without a doubt.
Look at that and
that
ways
doesn't
around
count
it.
on the quota.
Yeah.
They do get
Correct.
a work permit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Perhaps even don't even count on a salary cap, so that what you're paying them is perhaps expenses rather than.
Well, it's this development, isn't it?
Yeah,
in a way you do.
And I can't see an Australian team not wanting their players to have that kind of a life experience as a really young kid and bring that back into the first team dressing room.
Yeah. Look, it's another talking point. I think it's been interesting. We're always more getting players in Super League. Look at the players that are coming to Super League next season. It is going to be so exciting. And now, we've mentioned Mr. Pearce, we'll mention him again. If Blake Austin rips it up, if Mr. Hurrell rips it up, people are going, hang on, why don't we go one of them? And all of a sudden the pressure's on the block at the top. You're going to have to spend some money, son.
Or it's how you decide to spend your
Mr.
money.
Wilson.
Because he is spending his money.
Mr. Wilson, are you being controversial or are you just being open and honest?
Well, I think after my Danny Houghton thing, I'm actually considering I might be getting death threats tomorrow, but we'll deal with that tomorrow.
I want to ask you this, Schoey. Steve Bloomfield's got in touch saying, isn't Sammut a journeyman? And we all know your opinions on them.
Well, journeyman in what aspect, to be honest? Well, I would say, people will say, well, he's 31 years of age. But at 31 years of age, I think he's still a quality player, and I think he will add that quality to Wigan if the way that they want to play. So no, I don't think he's a journeyman.
To that extent, then, what is your definition when you say journeyman? Is it someone that has been to so many clubs because they're not good enough?
Yeah, correct. Well, so many clubs are not produced the goods at the clubs. Simple as that. That's why I'm calling them journeymen. Simple as that. You know, and you just look how Widnes pack their sides. Well, they pack their sides with journeymen. Simple as that. And one at Ulquiara, and one Ulquiara brought. Well, Araki, he's a journeyman. I don't understand that signing, to be honest with you, but they've got the reasons from there. If he's going to be a squad man or he's going to be an impact player, what have you. But no, it's these overseas players who are at the age where realistically they've not done it over here over a period of time. They've been to a few clubs, haven't done anything, and now they're just hanging around for a payday and they're taking the places of our English guys. Simple as that.
Fair enough.
But I do bring, as I said earlier with Sammut, this is going to be a wow signing or it's going to be a disaster. Time will tell.
One thing I'm not fully sure about with Wigan signing Sammut is that, quite rightly, Wigan have got the best production line of young players. They won the under-19s. They've won it, was it 9 times in 11 years? Is there not a half-back whose development is going to be stymied by signing Jarrod Sammut?
Well,
an English half-back.
Young Sharrocks, it's been
who went to Salford.
And also to the other one, Josh,
Josh Woods.
Josh Woods. Obviously, do they not think he's good enough yet or ready yet?
That might be it. But obviously, maybe they don't think they've developed it. But Sharrocks went to Salford, so he's experienced a bit of Super League. And it may be that there is this huge gap still between being a very, very good under-19 player and a regular first teamer at Super League level.
Well, again,
and maybe Sammut's filling that gap for them.
Well, again, they're big into the situation. 19 and 20-year-olds, because of the so-called physicality, they say they can't handle it week out. Which, I don't believe in that philosophy one little bit.
What I am looking forward to is the full England Academy playing the Aussie schoolboys this week in the first test.
Yeah.
Second test the week after. They've had 3 warm-up games. One against the universities and colleges that they were clearly too good for the opposition. Won't have done the opposition any harm at all to play against them, but that was a warm-up game. I think Yorkshire and Lancashire have really pushed them, both of them.
Yeah.
But they've come out on top in both of those games. They now are prepared to play the best of those 2 squads in an international. you know, if you get the chance to go to Lee or Leeds, go and see the games. If you don't, they will be live streamed on our league, and have a look at them. Let's see how our kids match up to the best of theirs, because there's a couple of their players that, apart from the hooker, there's a fullback and a centre that are really worth watching, and it'd be fantastic to see how our academy kids play against.
Worth a shout out as well, Jarrod, of course.
Yes.
Awful incident involving him, the young St Helens player. Sounds like he's in a bad way. Being attacked. That's how I read it. We hope he's all right. He was hoping to be involved, of course, against Aussies. That's not going to happen. And I thought it was quite a serious statement that Saints put out. So hopefully it's not as bad and serious as it sounds. But our thoughts are with Joe and his family. What must be a horrible time. Three of us are parents. You don't want to be in that situation, do you? It's as simple as that. So our thoughts with Joe. Get well soon.
But people have echoed those comments, Mark, in the comments on Facebook. Alan McQueen, of course, Mulqueen, I think is how you pronounce it. He's saying obviously about it. I think there's a bit of a video going around on social media. Try not to watch it really or promote that and everything. It's just you're sort of feeding into it then in a way, and you're promoting obviously this sort of violence and things like that. I know it's obviously you might be against it, you might be retweeting it for like that, but you know we're all against it. I don't think you need to retweet it really personally, but that's just my opinion. Coming on to the comments, plenty of asking about Gelling.
Yes.
Of course, what's going on with him and Widnes. Now,
Gelling and Inu are now at Widnes.
That for me though is an interesting partnership.
Well, it is. Can we come back to that in a minute?
Yeah.
Of course, the big news coming out of Widnes last week was that James Rule's gone.
Going, yeah.
Oh well, going.
Standing down.
Yeah.
And the club's up.
I think James Rule's about as popular at Widnes as Schoey is at Hull. I think that's my starting point. Have you got any? Would you like to go higher or lower again? In fact, no, I think that's a bit harsh because I actually don't think anyone at Widnes like James Rule.
Well, I would say 95% of the Hull fans like me.
Sorry.
Does Gary know? Everyone now's going. Does Gary know what like means?
Define like.
Like.
If you put a poll out there, I bet you 95% of the Hull fans would say, yeah, Schoey's all right.
I'll give it an hour. Do you want to try it?
Yeah.
That ain't happening.
No.
No, you put it out. It ain't that. I'm thinking 2. I've got 2.
All right.
Out of every yeah.
Do Hull fans like Schoey?
Yeah. And even then, you always get 1% of buffoons who just vote the other way anyway. So probably 1% really. No, James Rule's leaving. I think that's a positive for the club because I think the club was dying. And I go back, they sold Kevin Brown, and I get why they felt obliged to let him go. They didn't replace him, and that club. I went to the first game that year, and you could tell someone had pulled the plug out, and the belief was going down the plug hole. And ever since that moment, that club has been on a decline.
I feel as though with James Rule, he's just kidded the fans, hasn't he? That's all he's done is kidded people for me.
In what respect?
Just false promises.
I think the danger is that when you're the chief executive, you're a paid employee. You don't own the club. I think the owners haven't been in this country. They're now looking to sell on the club, talking about, like Dr. Kukash has done at Salford, ideally free of debt. That's going to mean some people are going to have to give up some money that they've loaned to the club, which might be quite significant amounts, but it could be the only way forward.
Well, it's saying a figure in there that about £1 million in the debt.
There's another investor who is keen to come in, but that depends again on the debt that he's got to take on.
Yeah.
So I think, whatever the rights and wrongs of James Rule, he is a paid employee. Some of the things that he will have done will have been decisions will have been taken above him. He is the guy that has to implement.
He's the front man that's got to tell everyone.
And I don't know him personally or well enough to say whether he did or didn't do a good job. I know that he took a lot of the flack and he may have deserved it. I don't know if.
So has he been used as a scapegoat then?
No, I don't.
I just think it's very difficult.
He might have had a Mission Impossible job, but I don't think he's helped himself.
And I think the owners have now realised that the current owners can't take the club forward in the way that they would like to. I think the two signings that you mentioned, Gelling turned up at training today, so
he's gone to it.
He's wearing the kit. Inu's re-signed. He was there at training today. That suddenly is a very good centre pairing in the Championship.
Yeah,
that elevates Widnes from being perhaps among mid-table to challenge him certainly for the top 5.
Well, we'll do what we said earlier. You know, we said a player's available, would you sign him? Well, if Gellin and Inu were available to Championship club, every Championship club would want them. Whether they could afford them.
There's a couple of Super League clubs that could do with it.
Yeah. Sid said he'd be surprised if Schoey's missus likes Schoey.
No,
but in fairness, she's not a Hull
fair.
fan, so she can't vote.
Yeah, she might like me Monday, Thursdays, and that's it.
Why, is that when you're out at golf or something?
Because it's fish and chip night.
Oh dear.
So yeah, the poll's active on Twitter if you're listening live. Unfortunately, you'll have to see the results if you're listening on.
It's alright, we don't charge you to vote on Twitter. It's not like you don't have to do an announcement. Please note you may be charged if you vote on. Don't vote on +1.
Dial in and 0-1 for not liking Schoey, 0-2 for liking him.
By the end of this programme, one of us will have been voted on.
Yeah.
So
he wanted to be an I'm a Celebrity. He'll certainly be out of it.
Yeah. We'll give him the feeling of voting him off so he knows what it feels like.
Plenty of talk about Gellin. Lots of people obviously talking about Rule, and they were asking us. And this one, I don't know how I feel about this one from William. Is it fair to say that Rule has conned the fans for years with lies and false promises?
Well, that's the view of listener. You know, that's not our interpretation of it. I think you make a good point, Phil. You know, sometimes in business, especially in struggling business, you've got to do things that he probably didn't feel comfortable in doing. But if you want the big wage that comes at the end of the month, you've got to do the nasty bit. So I think there's a bit.
You'll report to the board. You'll make recommendations to the board, and there may have been some issues with those recommendations. But the fact is, you are not the owner of the club.
Yeah, I'm quick to criticise Widnes for not re-signing. James Rule might have said, right, we can sell him, but we need to spend the money, and the guy might have went, no, just sell him, just get the money.
And that'll pay for the reserves this year or whatever.
And that might, look, I'm not defending James Rule, but I think you've got to have a degree of, that probably could have happened.
I think there are two things. One is we live in a scapegoating culture. And when things start to go wrong, somebody has to be responsible.
Yeah, but is that just because obviously?
No, I think that is the world that we live in.
No, that's what I'm saying. But about, like, for instance, social media. I'm of a generation that now has an opportunity to vent. Surely during, you know, when you've been growing up watching Leeds and things like that, surely there must have been people that you didn't like. For God's sake, Schoey hated Dougie Lawn.
But not to the same extent.
How did you know?
He kept that so quiet.
I must say, yeah.
Yeah,
but
also as well he hated me.
Well, yeah, but
I think that's one thing, that we live in a scapegoating culture.
No, but Phil,
but
I'm sorry.
There were two things for me that Widnes consistently have done well. I mean, amongst all the fact that on the field it's been an absolute disaster. The work that they do off the field through their community and with the particularly the health service that's been lauded, given awards for. Now, again, whilst you can criticise the chief executive for not making the right decisions as to signing the right players, you've got to give them a bit of credit for having that presence in the community. I think the other thing as well is that they have managed to bring through a lot of junior players, most of whom have re-signed to play in the Championship. There is a commitment to Widnes as a club. Now, they did that while James Rule was still chief executive. It could well be that fresh blood, fresh ownership, a new CEO, they've got a different coaching for next season, that actually this is the clean slate that they needed. And it may well be that a lot of the decisions James Rule made, he deserves criticism for. All I'm saying is, as a chief executive, you are bound by your work environment. Okay, well, let me respond to that, right? The thing is, let's look at Gary Hetherington, for example. How much stick he's got on social media and things like that, questions over the years. Social media highlights these now, whereas growing up 10, 20 years ago, there might have been questions about that, but you didn't hear them as much. The fact is, I think, as well, people pay attention a lot to social media as if it's the majority. Brexit is a perfect example. Social media would have suggested that there was no way that we were going to leave the EU, but the voting showed another example. I think it's just a case of, like, when it comes to James Rule, social media was incredibly heavy about him, get him out, Rule out, blah, blah, blah. And I understand that, and it's taken away those points that you've made there. So maybe, that's why I'm saying, you know, I put out the question, James Rule's left Widnes, is it about time? I don't know, I think the Widnes fans, maybe the better the devil you know.
But you see also as well...
No, I don't agree with that.
But also as well, when you look at any sporting club, and I totally agree what Phil's saying from there, and Mark was agreeing, and I totally agree as well. Off the field, the great work what they've done, but unfortunately in sport,
on the field.
The main products in sport, whether it's rugby league, rugby union, football, cricket,
Absolutely.
it's what's on that piece of turf, and that's where the fans give their opinion on.
You lose 2 games, and the manager, stroke chief executive, is under immediate
That's my
pressure.
point.
That's the world we live in.
That's the product. The product
And the
is there.
last
What
2
they see on a
years
Thursday,
has been
Friday,
a
Saturday,
real
Sunday.
downward spiral for which somebody has to take responsibility. Clearly, it can't have just been the coach, because 2 or 3 coaches have tried and it hasn't made a huge amount of difference. And it may well be at this exact time Widnes need a complete clean slate. My issue would be, if I was a Widnes fan, who's going to own the club rather than who's going to be the chief executive of the club.
Fair dues.
So comments coming in. I don't follow Widnes close enough, says KPW81. Enough to answer that, but I think that it's telling that this is the second club he has left and the fans have wanted him out.
Could be.
Plenty of people as well getting in touch. Sheila has got in touch on YouTube saying too late for Widnes. Gelling reckons he's staying, but we've heard this before. That's not really
I
obviously.
think the important thing, that having turned up to honour his contract, if he goes anywhere now, there'll be a fee.
Yeah, that's Widnes's.
So Widnes now have got their man tied to the contract that he signed. If another company wants to come in, then obviously another club wants to come in, they're going to have to pay for it.
Yeah, and then we're just hearing Brian O'Connor's just stood down as well. He's one of the. Is he the manager? He's one of the directors.
He's the commercial director.
Yeah.
But obviously linked to Steve O'Connor, who's the major shareholder, who I don't even think lives.
No, he's Australian.
No.
Yeah, and it's part. I think it's part of the O'Neill Sports brand, isn't it? So they will need to take a decision as to how much of the money that they put into the club they would prepared to take back. If they are going to do along the lines of Dr. Kukash of saying, I'm writing off the debt, then Widnes can start afresh. The new backer, who it's rumoured is already a sponsor of the club, would come in on that basis with the clean slate and the ability to appoint their own chief executive. Great. But I do think that ownership thing needs sorting out before anything else.
A couple of comments about, and it's interesting the dual contrast between these. Andy Bibby says, the worst mistake Widnes made was sacking Betts. Counteracting that, Alan's got into it saying, Andy, Betts should have gone 3 or 4 years ago. What do we think about Betts? Because of course,
well, I was at the game when Widnes played Wakefield, and the hatred towards from the fans that night was quite simple. The directors, whether it was Rule as a CEO or the other directors from a point of view, the response and the hatred and the malice from the fans after that performance, they had to sack Dennis. They had to be seen to do something, and they had to do, because not simply had they had enough of what they were seeing, but there was hatred there, there was malice from there, and they made the points prove. Dennis, had he been there too long? I'm not so sure about that, to be honest with you, because he seemed to get a response, certainly from the younger players who we brought in, the younger players who we gave the opportunity to. I just figured Widnes had made the wrong signings. Too many old players from there who were way past the sell-by date. It wasn't the young players who let Widnes down. It was the journeymen. Simple as that.
Our new technical guy. Our new technical guy.
The new old technical.
He's getting sacked. Here, there's a plug. Plug it in. Gee whiz. What is he doing?
Fortunately,
James Rule or Tom Maguire?
He's a Cass fan, isn't he?
I'm not a Cass fan.
It's all gone wrong since he started kissing that badge before the show.
He's a Cass fan, what do you expect? Talking about Cass.
We'll in a minute. Hold your fire, because our YouTube.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because Tom's broken YouTube for the 3rd time in the show. Now look, now he can't even plug it in. Now look, he doesn't. Oh God! What have we done here? Right, Richard, are you watching? Richard, come back. Richard,
he's on the bus.
Come back. Come back, he's outside, look, he's on the scaffolding outside, peering in through, he's got his face pressed up against the window. Can I come in? Let me in. Tom Maguire's killing our show, we invite him in once. Are we going to get to come on your show and press all the wrong buttons?
No,
I don't think so. He's telling us to carry on. We're going to wait for our YouTubers, but I think it's only fair.
We'll go through some of the Facebook comments.
We will, we'll go through some of the Facebook comments. Good idea. Matthew said YouTube's gone again. Oh, as if we didn't know. Blame. How do you spell your name, Tom? Just so when I put reply, it's all Tom Maguire's fault. Bear with me, caller. Is it M-A? It is M-A-G. Yeah, it's all right. Don't worry. I don't want to spell your name wrong.
I think we're back. There we go.
It's all Tom Maguire's fault. He's been sacked. He's serving out his notice. He's got to do about 41 minutes. Or he can leave now and get on the bus. It's up to him. There you go. So, right, what were we going to talk about then?
Well, I'm just going to say, I think there'll be...
Castleford.
just looking at Cassie and the big story there, the League Express, Giants and the Tigers set for a swap deal. Wardle, well, I think we questioned that when he came back from Australia to Cass. Is he a Cass player? Was he going to bring anything? Well, to be honest with you, I don't think he's brought any. All right, he's had a few injuries, this sort of thing, but I don't think he's brought anything.
Get it. He had a few injuries when he was at Huddersfield.
Well, I know, yeah.
And Newcastle.
And Newcastle.
But what I'm saying, he's Cassie now, going for the big man. You could pronounce his name.
Seb.
We'll call him Seb then. Seb, I think he'd be a great addition to that Cass side, and if this does come off, this should be great business by Cass.
What do you think, Phil?
I'm not sure whether Cass need a back rather than another big forward. If they can keep everybody fit, they will have one of the biggest packs in the league, and that will determine a little bit about where they play. Luke Gale being fit again is obviously very important, directing him around. Big season for Matautia. I think he
I was impressed
he
with
made
him.
a lot of friends towards the end of last year.
Yeah.
Looked like he could really do it at Super League level.
Yeah.
I think obviously a full season, a full pre-season behind him, then he's going to be important. But they've lost Jake Webster, obviously not replaced him like for like. If they lose Wardle, I mean the strange thing about Wardle for me was where was he going to play at Cass? Because to me he's not a centre.
No,
he's a tackling machine.
Let's be.
So he's a second rower.
Jake Wardle had his glory days when he was stood outside what was a rampaging Brett Ferris.
Yeah.
When Brett Ferris was playing really well in the back row, who was stood next to him? Joe Wardle looked a world beater. I'm not saying Joe wasn't a good player, but as you know, Gary, if the guy who's looking at you is looking at the guy next to you, you've got more chance of getting past the guy in front of you, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's it. And I just think, for me, look, it's easy with hindsight, Gary. We did question at the time. We both said probably not the right signing for Cass, and I think that has been proven. The fact that they're trying to move him on. I like Ikehefo. It's interesting that as Huddersfield have maybe flourished, he's not. And I don't know whether he's on a big wage and Huddersfield are trying to free that up and get him out.
I think that is part of it.
But I don't know. I like him, Ikehefo.
I think Huddersfield want to play a little bit differently. We talked about Wigan changing their style. I think Simon Wolford's had a look, was bought in to say keep us up first and foremost.
Yeah.
More than achieved that and quicker than even he expected.
Yeah.
So that gave him a bit of a licence to have a look at what he had and how much money he had and how he could perhaps spread that money. I think Danny Brough going is part of that. There's a big wage freed up. If Seb goes, there's another big wage freed up. That means you can go and sign your Frawleys. Mamo's gone, that's another big wage freed up. It possibly gives Simon Wolford the chance to invest and play a slightly different way. And I don't think it's anything to do with Ikehefo. I think he has been great for them over the last couple of years. It's purely that in a salary cap sport, you've got to find
I
the
agree
money
with
where
that.
you can.
And we said that when Rick Stone was there. They had trouble with the salary cap. But one thing I'll say about Ikehefo, Gary, is when Huddersfield were rubbish, and I mean when they were really poor, he was their best player every week. And I think that is a mark of a player, isn't it? When the chips are down and you're playing well, I think that's a mark of a man.
I talk about it every week. We do as commentary, don't I? I talk about consistency, week in and week out. And if you want to be a good player, you want to be remembered as a good player, you've got to have consistent week in and week out and certainly hit the 7, 8s every week from there. And I reckon big Seb for the Giants. Yeah, when you mentioned when they were struggling, he was their best player week in and week out, and he set the consistency target. And I think it'd be a great signing for Cass. I know the way Cass player, certainly on the fringes from there, he will cause a lot of damage to the opposition.
Very good, very good. Let us know your feelings. Cass related as well. Big news in the world of women's rugby league because Cass are going to play
Catalan ladies.
Dragons, aren't they?
Yeah,
But even bigger news, Wakefield are in Super
We'll
League.
come to that in a minute.
Wakefield women.
So Castleford Tigers ladies are going to be playing Catalan ladies. Curtain raiser Easter Monday before the men's game. I think it's going to be really good. But Wakefield
And World Nines, which we still haven't got quite all the details of. We know it's going to be 12 invited nations, 4 women's nations. So if I was a women's player, if I were a women's player at the start of this season, the incentive of playing in a World Nines, because I think England will be one of those 4 teams, fantastic. The more we can get international experience to our players, the better.
And what it does mean, Wakefield coming in, we'll have 8 teams. So there'll be no. Hopefully, they'll get quite a consolidated block of fixtures.
Yes.
And you would hope that someone would be going off the top of their head. Other than Featherstone, are they all Super League linked clubs?
York.
And York. You would think they'd better marry up the fixtures whereby you'd be playing the same teams. And maybe a few double headers.
You might even pick one game each round to be televised.
Might do. Yeah, we won't talk about that. We'll move on.
World rankings?
Yes,
England
we had a
second.
Spain shirt up, right? But
Yeah.
you made an executive decision to throw it in the bin when
Well,
you
not
realised
throw it in
they'd
the
gone
bin.
down.
They'd gone down.
Why have they gone down,
They're
Spain?
still in the World Cup, but so we've gone with the fourth ranked nation, who are now Tier 1 in terms of seeding, which is Tonga.
Right,
But the important thing is that England are second,
right.
gone above New Zealand, as you would expect, having beaten them 3 times this year. But the percentage
And they've
gap.
beaten 4 times.
No, lost the third.
Oh, they lost the last one. My apologies.
The percentage gap between Australia and England is to the point where if they do actually meet in a 3-game series, the winner of that is likely to be the number 1 nation. Shame it isn't maybe next year. We might have to wait until the year after, but there is a chance, depending on obviously results between Australia and New Zealand in that gap, that England could be the number 1 ranked nation going into the 2021 World Cup. The 2 big movers. Again, quite exciting for if you follow rugby league outside of the conventional geography. Poland coming in and Turkey, which is on the back of their performances in the Emerging Nations World Championship. Poland particularly are saying let's build that into the domestic competition, which is pretty much fledgling at the moment. Turkey are playing it currently, their domestic competition. To anybody that's interested in seeing those results, I think, the Bilgi Badgers beat the Bosphorus Wolves this weekend. If you can think of 2 better names that played this weekend, then
I reckon Schoey's a Badger. I reckon he'd be a Badger. We'd be the
big
Wolves.
white stripe down his head.
Yeah. Joking aside, it's getting quite serious now, isn't it? We are getting league fixtures every week. We're starting to get drip-fed bits and bats. We're laughing. But it is getting serious.
Well,
teams are starting to play, and all of a sudden, this isn't pie in the sky. It's 15 Aussies turning up to play because the grandma were born in Turkey 83 years ago.
I would look at Jamaica, who we've lauded for the last couple of weeks, quite rightly, because not only have they got to the World Cup, but the potential that gives the sport. Well, there's been 2 more stories come out of Jamaica this week. One is that the Under-19s Championship for the first time has been won by a rural team. That's not one in Kingston, it's in St Elizabeth's. Right. Which again is just spreading the word. They've only been going 3 years and they've already beaten the other high schools. And the first women's team is playing. Right. So, again, it's just small landmarks that are on the back of having a wider profile. South American Championship was played last weekend. Now, again, it's only the start of things, but Brazil have won the South American Championship. They beat both Argentina and Colombia. You've all got to start somewhere. Brazilian B team beat Argentina. The Brazilian women won. The Brazilian under-17s. Could Brazil be the next Chile? This is what we want, isn't it? We want more nations of note to genuinely be playing rugby, because all of those people that were playing in those games were from that continent.
Let's get out to Brazil. What was it? Coco
we're going to send you to Argentina to do that game, River Plate Boca. We're going to send you out as our 4020 live correspondent.
Oh, cheers.
You're driving the bus.
Cheers.
Yeah. Well, you said you wanted a good gig. We've got you one.
I think going to the Care I might get the same response, don't you?
Oh dear. It's my uncle. You saw my uncle the other week, and he was reminiscing of times when Bradford went to Wigan on the bus, and they all jumped the bus and threw bricks through the windows. They had to drive home on the motorway with no windows in the bus. So it did used to happen.
No, it did happen. No, unfortunately, it happened. Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
Can we talk about the new camp?
Yes.
Or the Camp Nou,
Camp
whichever
Nou.
you prefer.
In fact, I don't actually know which is the correct way to say it, but
I think they call it the Camp Nou.
All right. What do we think about this? Because I have my reservations about the fact that it's going to be essentially a fantastic occasion. It's sort of thing we should be doing, but there's not going to be that many fans going to it because, of course, it's the week before Magic Weekend as well.
I have no reservations. I think it's fantastic.
You think it's going to be a success, though?
If you can't build it up over 6 months.
Now they've won something, and they're a credible...
And they're playing the champions. So you sell it to the Spanish population as the cup winners against the champions.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think there'll be a lot of Catalan people just turn up because, given as well the political unrest that there has been regarding the Catalan region, I almost think it'll be a badge of honour that they do turn up and support their own team.
And I guess the other thing as well is that the Barcelona Football Club have already put it out on social media. There's 5.6 million people following.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same when, like, for instance, Liverpool tweeted out the Magic Weekend. It's the sort of thing that we do need to be doing. But while we're quickly talking about that, joe.co.uk, they're a fantastic website, huge social media presence. When they followed the England camp, did some videos. That's some of the best bits of marketing I've seen this year. And there's been some good examples of it, of course, lots of it from lower league clubs, etc. and like that. But that's the sort of thing we should be doing. So, Catalans, of course, taking on Wigan, that FC Barcelona putting it out on their Twitter, across their, obviously their original account, the English account, French account and all that, the wide reach, that's just a success in itself.
But I think the other thing as well is the highest crowd that Catalan have ever had for a home game was when they played Warrington in Barcelona. Admittedly, it was at the Olympic Stadium, but they got 19,000 for that. So I think to give a 5 or 6 month lead in, to make that a game of choice. You know, if you're a Wigan fan and you've got the opportunity to do one overseas trip this year, you go to Barcelona. You go to Barcelona.
You know, like you say about, you'd go pay what's this, you'd pay what's that. I think that's a lot of people might go, I might go to Barcelona for that. I might get on the plane.
Easy to get to, in terms of there are a lot of scheduled flights. A fantastic once-in-a-lifetime experience to be at the first game played in that stadium. And that stadium's going to be renovated, I think, as well. So in its configuration as it is at the moment, it's the last time you can go to it virtually. But my only reservation, it's a limited one and it's typical rugby league, is that it's the same weekend as the Blackpool Dash.
Well,
so again, as a sport, we're still competing with ourselves.
But we can't just pause the rest of the competition.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, but you could play it at a time that, you know, you could have planned around it.
There might be some people who support championship clubs who would have gone to Barcelona, irrespective of who was playing, to be part of that event, who are now prevented from doing it.
Also, I think another great marketing ploy would be the possibility if the Barcelona players could be there and they give the rugby league players a guard of honour, you know, coming out from there. So I think that would be a great another shot in the arm for the game, don't you?
I think there'll
the
be
Barcelona
a lot of
players are there, stood at the side of the pitch.
Well, what you want is Messi chucking the ball around.
But there's time to do that, isn't
it?
I think if you get a video of like Messi throwing the ball around with Remy Castilla or something like that, that's going to explode.
I think that Barcelona have bought into it because the PR that we've seen has had their president there welcoming Wigan and the Dragons. So there's no reason to think that they won't be very... They wouldn't have taken the game on.
I just think the fact that Catalans can go, look what we've won in England, it automatically gives them even more credibility.
Don't look no further than Catalans.
Well, shall I go through some comments?
Yes,
people.
fire away,
so, I can't wait to go, says KPW81. It already is a success, says Dave. The buzz around the announcement was great. This is back with KP. Admittedly, I am a Wigan season ticket holder, but I wouldn't miss this for the world.
100%.
Despite being blind and having no radio commentary while there, I will not miss this for anything. So, wow, very good. Sean,
we'll go
challenge
some commentary.
Yeah. Good luck. Challenge Cup winners versus the most successful club in rugby league history. Why not, says Sean. That's on YouTube. If you want to get in touch on Twitter, of course, you can do. And someone's actually got into it. Matt, would Tom have an issue if Leeds were playing in Barcelona? I'd say the exact same thing that I've just said. So, no, Matt. Facebook, plenty of comments. The new camp, 90,000 plus stadium, is going to look like the AJ Bell Stadium. That's what Peter says.
I don't think so. I don't know. Again, sell the bottom tier, make it look like, be clever when you film it. You know, I thought the Beam did a good job with that at Liverpool. The only thing I think they messed up with, and they probably didn't have any choice with it, is when they were filming the half-time bits, it was in front of the empty bit. But on the filming, if you notice, right at the top of the picture was where the empty seat, and I thought, you know what, Phil, you've done a really good job there. Yeah, and that's what they have to do there. You just got to make it. So when it's in the paper, it looks like it's random.
So if we only get 30,000, we're going to say that's a failure, bearing in mind it's the biggest crowd that we've ever had in Super League.
It's a 50% improvement on their biggest ever gear.
in Super League is 25,000.
Yeah.
So, you know, if it beats that, it's a success.
Yeah, I agree. And maybe, you know what, that then kickstarts Leeds say, we're not having this. We want a 35,000 crowd, or we want, you know, Cass, come on, we're going to play, we need... And that's what you've got to do. You've got to try and create the big thing and say, right, we're going to do it.
And maybe the incentive for the team that wins the grand final every year is that they get to play a game in a prestigious location. Now, this is Wigan's reward for being the champions. Why have Catalans chosen them over everybody else? Partly because their travelling support is superb, but mainly because they can sell it as the Challenge Cup holders against the
and they want to knock them out. Yeah,
I think a good example is that they went to Australia as well last year, so the fans went with them. By the way, there has been a lot of comments about something I mentioned earlier. So obviously, I put this out. Should Super League clubs be signing some of the impressive Aussie schoolboys for a couple of years for the start of their careers, like you were suggesting, Mark? And it seems
very negative
like
response.
A lot of people don't agree with you. The one person who does is Steve, saying, yes, it's a no-brainer. Bet some of the young halves would get a spot in a lot of our top sides. And then Ian, you'll be suggesting feeder clubs next. Stephen, no, give our boys a try. NRL wouldn't be giving our boys a try. Captain Chaos.
I think you'll find if they're good enough, they would do, wouldn't they?
I think you'll find we're not the NRL, is it?
And then Mark saying we should concentrate on developing our own. Only sign them if it's a long-term agreement on both sides.
I just don't see. You went to how old were you when you first went to Australia?
19.
19. What did it do for your career? Did it make you a better player?
Yeah, because
there's life experience as well,
life experience. I don't bite that rubbish. But what it did for me as a player, it made me a better player because you had to play well week in and week out, consistently well. Because if you didn't, you got dropped. You know, and also too playing against better players week in and week out made you a better player. Oh yeah. But as I say, you know, I was lucky enough to have Frank Stanton as a coach, and as I said, with the four best coaches who I played under, David Ward, Mal Reilly, the late great Arthur Bunting, and Frank himself. You know, he simply just said to me, "Schoey, you're here to score the strides. You've got a free roll." So that wasn't coaching, it was management. But what Frank saw in me in the '84 Test series, well, I was all over the place, and I looked to score tries, and they wanted a try scorer, and that's what it took. But he didn't take anything away from my game. But if I didn't perform to the standard what he wanted, then I would have been dropped. So the reason why it made me a better player, I watched, believe it or not, I listened as well. I may not listen to a lot, but I listened and picked out the best bits from there of all the players, because when you looked at that dressing room I was in, Mark, right, and Phil and Tom, they had Gary Jack, Australian fullback, Steve Roach, Australian prop, Benny Elias, Australian hooker, Big Paul Sillinen, mountain of a man, second rower, and Wayne Pearce, the loose forward. And as I say, when you just can't pick, if you can't learn and pick up little things from them guys, then plus as well,
Scott Gale, your halfback.
Scotty Gale at the halfback, Gary Bridge. I tell you what, he was as slow as you, but I tell you what, quick between the ears. Brilliant creator.
Looking at Phil, then.
I don't know who we're looking at.
Ball-handed player. So, but from a coaching point of view, when Frank Stanton said to me, "You're here to score a tries. You've got a free roll," brilliant. But it was better rugby league week in and week out. But you had to perform at a consistent level, really, and get an 8 out of 10, and else you'd be in reserve grade.
And I know sometimes he does listen to the programme. He may not be at the moment. Carl Hall we used as an example earlier, but I saw something, I think it might have been on social media last week, from a Doncaster fan saying that Carl Hall revolutionised the way they watch rugby league, even as a 17-year-old, because they've been used to being a very honest, hard-working, forward-driven team that would always give their all, but most weeks probably wouldn't win. And then this young Kiwi arrived who was 17 and was not only lightning, but just was a joy to watch, and brought the best out of the players around him, even though he was a kid. Came back, had a second spell there. It'd be interesting to know if there's any Doncaster fans that saw him, whether he stymied the development of somebody else or he just was worth watching on his own. But also, you know, if Carl picks this up at any point, what was it like for him coming over as a kid? As a life experience, how did that shape him as a player later on? Because he went on, played for his country, didn't he?
He's in good shape nowadays.
I'll tell you what.
A big shape.
I'll tell you what, his shirt fit's better than yours. I'll give him that.
He's gone down in wash this.
Gone down in wash. Maybe you could do with getting it washed.
So Wakefield t-shirt and all this.
I won't lie though, Scott. It's a smart polo. Someone commented as soon as the show started, "You're looking pretty smart today."
Yeah. Looking a bit short of breath, but you're looking smart.
Now you mentioned with my t-shirt. Now you mentioned with my t-shirt. I've been breathing in for last hour.
Health and safety said he had to undo that top button.
What do you
Phil
mean?
might have been shot at point blank range.
It's a bit hard.
What happened?
I tell you what, you
They
mentioned
have
about
a gun. No, it was Schoey.
you mentioned about Carl.
Carl.
You mentioned about Carl at Doncaster. How good he was. What happened when he came to Leeds then?
Oh,
Towards the end of his career.
Not having that.
What happened when he
Played well at Bradford.
I spoke to one.
Wasn't the greatest team to come into, was
Yeah, I
it?
spoke to one last week. He's a good lad, Carl. Plenty of time and respect for him. But I say, what happened when he came to Leeds then?
That was a no-win
When you talk
situation,
to
was it?
when you talk to all, he still thinks he's one of the best centres ever played for Leeds.
At the time he was, that's why
We'll
Leeds
go
were
with that.
in danger of relegation.
We'll move on. We like Cal. We're moving
Yeah,
on.
he's a good bloke. He's all. He don't worry about that.
He is. He
Yeah?
is indeed. Now we've got a bit of breaking news
Right.
because the RSW,
Oh, yes.
who don't always get.
He doesn't like you. That's why he's not here.
What have you been like that for?
Joking.
He said that Rugby League's missed an opportunity here because he said that the Catalan Wigan game they should have had it at Lily Sports Village.
Ban him.
They'd have filled it. That's
There
because he's
you
going
go.
to Blackpool.
There you go. Look, there.
He's
Even
booked
when
his
he's not
Blackpool
here,
ticket.
he's just chucked a brick in and said, "Yeah, get it in."
He's a controversial one. He's RSW, isn't he?
Can't
We had to
help
stand him down, Gary. We can't have it.
He's the.
We had to send him for some.
Taking over the programme, haven't we? His rants.
We've had to send him to some quiet time.
Gardening leave.
Yeah. If he had a garden, he'd probably do it, but I don't think he's got one.
He's on the Isle of Anglesey, looking out to sea, just chilling.
Better than Belle Isle. Anyway, right, coming back to Catalans.
I beg your pardon. What do you mean?
I don't know.
He pays poll tax in Belial. At least.
All tax.
I don't even know.
Isn't it poll tax, isn't it?
Probably was the last time you played it, yeah.
Anybody paid it.
Speaking of polls, we've got the poll running. There's 11 minutes left as it's running now live. So get over to our Twitter at
Is he getting to
420.
95%?
Now, I left 3 options, Schoey, right?
I don't believe this.
Do Hull
Popular,
fans
honestly,
do Hull fans like Schoey? Just that.
Yeah.
3 options. No, God no, and a reluctant yes. And winning by 2% is a reluctant yes.
There you go.
Told you.
Yeah, but what that actually means is
No, hold on.
that 65%
listen.
don't like it.
No. Hey, listen.
So
because-
actually, you're losing.
I'll tell you
You're
the reason.
losing.
I'll tell you the reason why. Because the Hull fans are very, very intelligent. They're smart and they know exactly what they know about rugby league. They like the open honesty. They like the truth, and that's why they like the legend. Keep going, Hull fans.
65% don't like you. That's
Keep
all
going.
I'm saying. We'll leave it
Two-thirds.
there.
I'm still up there.
Two-thirds.
I'm still in there. I
I'm
told you.
disappointed. That's not 98%.
I tell you what, the first game of the season, we're going at Kirkham. Bing, bing, he's back. He's back. Going through car
Mr.
park.
Pearson, sorry, access dinner.
Yeah. You know when the scanner's ticketing?
Yeah.
Yours will you go,
No.
What? No, me, I'm working. No.
Turn round, M62. I've got my press pass. Well, actually, I've got
No, we'll get you one next year. And then you get that taken off you as well. And we'll be keeping that. Yeah.
Will we get our press passes next year? Will it be Super
I don't
League
know.
or the
I don't
RFL?
know. Who's
Just
in
one-
charge? Who's
just
in
one.
charge? I don't even know. I don't
It does
know.
raise the whole split thing is quite interesting as well, because when it comes to Magic Weekend now, is it an event that the RFL are going to be publishing and pushing the tickets for, or is it the Super
I think
League
that'll be
going
Super
for?
League.
Yeah, but it's not quite clear, is it?
But I think
And I think we're going to have a few more instances of that.
Well, that is another example of why Barcelona will be promoted by Super League and will be very high profile, and Blackpool will be left to the RFL, and they'll do the best job they can. But
Can I ask a
you're
question
not
about
comparing
some
like
of
with
that?
like, are you?
Just I saw something today. One of the clubs tweeted out. I think it might have been Lee, wanting all their fans to go. Great, because Lee get all the ticket money, which is great. So who pays for the summer bash then? Is that an only? Because I know they got. I always thought like you got half of your ticket money or something, and half went to the RFL. But they actually said we get all the ticket money. So if
Unless
that's the
that's
case,
changed.
Who pays for the
then
ground?
who pays for the ground? Who pays for the stewards? Who pays for everything else?
The RFL must
Just
do.
it's just a question. And if that is costing money, then what's the point?
Or maybe they get their ticket money after expenses.
Possibly, I don't know. I just thought it was a genuine question to ask. You know, it wasn't. I'm not being rude about it.
I'll tell you what as well. We talk about Lee there from Mark and say they've got new coach there now in John Duffy. They've made all these signings, good signings by all accounts.
Yeah.
All League people.
All
as
League,
well.
all
So
League
there's
people.
a
So
real-
I think that's good for the championship, because when you look at that championship now with the quality of what's in there, it's going to be quite
Wide
competitive,
open.
isn't it?
It's wide open.
Very
Scott.
competitive.
It's
So
wide open.
Derek Beaumont's made a statement. He's not in there now, but if they need some help, then I'll still be lingering about. But now, hopefully, they can take themselves forward and get back where they want to get.
I got a lot of stick about Lee for saying, and I said it, and I'll say it, and I'll say it to Derek if he was sat here now, is that I thought when he walked out on the club. Now, we spoke to Derek earlier in the year, didn't we? We look at, I think they lost 4 of the first 5, and he was great. He came on, and he said, "Look, if we don't make the 4, then I aren't going to be able to finance it." Now, I think we were under the impression he'd sit to the end of the season and then he'd deal with it from there. When they couldn't make the 4, and then he instantly pulled the plug, and he's forcing people to leave, and that, I will use that word. Players were told, if you don't leave, then we'll bust the club. That didn't sit well with me, and I said at the time, if that's his attitude, then he should get banned from the game. He, and only he, offered those deals to those players. No one made him sign any of those players. We go back to that tweet at the start. Oh, look at our team, all NRL, all Super League. You're in the Championship, mate. It doesn't mean anything. He offered those contracts, right? He should have paid those contracts in full. Now, he may well, and I know he's settled with the players, and I've since come out and I said, great, he's done that, and I think he should have done it. I don't think he should have been forcing anyone. He signed those deals. It's all right saying, well, it's going to bust the club if you don't leave. Well, you signed the contract, mate. You're offering me the money, yeah? It's like he drives around in his Lamborghini. You don't turn around and say, well, I can't afford the insurance, but I'm going to drive my car anyway, so you don't have it then.
Well, I think we can remember the tweet when he put out before the start of the season. The first game, I've got so many NRL players, so many Super League players appearances for, what was it, about 1,200 or whatever. So what? Where did that get you?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was my point. But I had, and that's why I said it at the time. If he would have walked away and those players hadn't been paid, then I think he should have been banned from the game. It seems like he's agreed a settlement with them. Fair enough. I just think personally, and what I did is after, cause again, when we when we question something, you get criticised for it. I read back Mickey Iams' tweets. I'm heartbroken what's happening to my club, that no one deserves this at my club. And we've always said there's some great people work at that club. This isn't against them. It was against Derek, who I think should have honoured the contracts. He signed them. And he made a good point. So, well, if I'd have said to the players, well, if you don't get in the form, offering you half money, none of them would have come. Well, maybe those aren't the players you want at your club. That might have been the first thing I'd have said. But he's done it. I just think it's been 4 months of damage to Lee Rugby League Club.
I think he is underpinning this regeneration.
Yeah, and I get that.
And I think the idea is that they're going to work within strict budgets this year, and it's going to be a Lee-based operation on and off the field. And 2019 will be a year of consolidation, and 2020 they'll look then to perhaps be in a position to strike back for Super.
I get that,
which is fine.
And that's great. I've no issue with that.
To a point now
absolutely no issue.
Absolutely the way forward.
The point I had was you cannot sign players and then say, no, I'm not paying you. I'm not paying you. And I wonder, in the future, if players or agents might go, I'm not sending you there. I don't want you to go there because if it happens, it might happen again.
John Duffy's obviously a Lee lad, and I think he's going to do a lot of work in the community as well, rebuilding. Yeah,
I think it's great what they're doing. I think the players have signed a good players, and I think, without being rude, they'll get a level of performance out of those players that will mean they'll be competitive.
And I think then the exact reverse of what you've just said, those players are coming for the right reasons.
Yes, exactly.
They want to play for their hometown.
They want to rebuild it. Yeah, I like that.
They probably could have got more money, some of them, at other clubs.
Yeah, I get that.
Because the quality of signing. Somebody like Tom Spencer, for example, who's coming home from London, he's still good enough to play in Super League, I think. He was really important to London in getting promoted. I think he would have got at least...
I sponsored Mr Spencer last season.
Well, I reckon he would have got at least one season in the Super League to see how he went. But he's decided to go home to Lee. So I think he won't be on Super League money.
It's not a dig at the players, it's not a dig at the people. I just think, Derek, in my opinion, he should have honoured the contract. There shouldn't have been all this messing about. And with a view.
And what to see also as well, what John Duffy will do, as Phil's mentioned there from the community, that John Duffy will build the trust and get the trust back from everybody to get back involved in the club.
Commercial partner.
Yeah, because I've been involved in the club, Keithley. You know what I mean? So it's a matter now at this moment in time, with the way Keithley are going. Hopefully, some action is going to be taken this week. And so then it's getting the trust back of the people who want to be part of that club, who want to take it on this journey, who want to take it on this vision and get where they want to get. But the trust has been broken. It's hard work, I'll tell you, to get the trust back, but it's achievable.
I think in fairness to them is that he has agreed settlements with everyone, and I think there's no debt there, if you like. So they have got a clean slate.
It's getting the trust back and confidence.
Yeah, it is, and that's in credit to him. I don't think we needed all the unsavoury bit in the middle. Absolutely. He might argue he had to play it that way to get
he calls it all himself because, like Mr. Kukas, as we know down the road, you know,
didn't have to sign the players.
Exactly. It was all about me. It's all about me. I'm in charge. I'll do what I want.
There was an assumption that they were going to be in the fourth. The worst that would happen is they would finish. Well,
what do you do? I'm sure you've got a business plan here at your shop.
Yeah.
If we don't sell anything, then
exactly.
we're having dairy sandwiches next week.
But I honestly don't think that was considered.
Well,
with the players
and
that
I
were
think
signed.
that is.
If we're having Dairy Lee sandwiches next week, I'm doing what Richard Shawwright's doing tonight. I'm not coming.
You're not coming? Don't you like Dairy Lee?
No, it's shocking.
We'll get some fat-free stuff. You know, if you're worried about your physique.
I'll tell you what, I don't mind fish and chips. Can we get some fish and chips at about 7 o'clock?
Well, to be fair, what we're hoping is what you with your court case, because you've forgotten it. You owe me a curry, and I haven't forgotten. There's a very nice curry shop 2 doors down. Phil's told me about it.
Yeah, but I've looked at the menu. It's a little bit expensive to where I'm.
Don't worry, we're not bothered. Hold on, that was never. Hold on, that was never. That was never, was it?
No,
you can have a curry, but we're going to
Asda.
We've got
Nafees isn't there anymore.
Nafees is closed.
Yeah. £2 a head.
Do you know what? And I say because I never used to be into the Indian food. I love it now. It's my favourite food. But the first time I went to this top restaurant, when I say top restaurant, it's where the lads went to Nafees, and I went there when I first signed for Leeds. And I didn't really like it. We got there about 4:15, something like that. Being at TC's and all this sort of nightclub anyway. So I went to the Indian. And do you know what I got?
Omelette and chips.
Is what?
Omelette and chips.
Scampi and chips. Scampi and chips I ordered in Indian. And do you know what? It was a shocker. Shocker. Scampi and chips. But to be honest with you, I like Indians, but don't worry, I haven't forgot about it.
No, don't worry, I haven't forgot about it.
The restaurant, that one next door is too expensive. I've seen the menu.
I'm not bothered. Are you bothered, Phil?
No.
Oh, Tom, where's he coming?
Tom, you can have a vote from Richard. Are you bothered? Coming? No, Richard's not bothered.
The bet between me and you, not every Tom, Dick and Harry.
Well, I think
we'll
find
publicise the day. Anybody can come.
He's Ross and Tracy downstairs. Are they coming as well?
Just walk.
Builders coming.
Just walk in. See you with the Schofield party.
The Schofield festive feast.
Tell you what, we might as well invite Adam Pearson as well.
Well, he won't come.
He won't come.
You're just getting silly now.
Why? Because you're
there. 35% of mates from Hull might come with you, though.
I'm leading that poll.
I think it's coming close to an end, but I think there's still definitely 2 things we need to discuss. Obviously, the rumours about what's going on with Fev, and they've got their new head coach apparently.
Yes.
The guy from obviously New South Wales Cup. I'm not sure about the guy. Obviously, I don't know his name, and I've completely forgotten now.
It's in the paper.
Yes, is it Ryan Carr? Something like that.
Yeah. What do we make of that?
What's that?
Fev getting an Aussie coach.
Yeah, it's been squashed in there. It was Justin Morgan, but that's been quashed, hasn't it? The head coach.
Is that the right way to be going?
I was surprised when I heard about it. Very surprised, to be honest with you.
It's interesting that there's a debate about should we bring Australian schoolboys over and will that harm the development of English halfbacks. But should a championship club be bringing over an Australian coach who's coached at non-NRL level?
I'm just not sure.
Are there not British coaches out there?
I'm not sure the Championship is a division. No. Or if you don't, we had it with Ronan Smith at Bradford. It was, I'll never forget that moment. I asked him about the slope at Fev, and he didn't know what I was on about, and it was like, mate, you're beaten before you even
One
get
of the nicest men you will ever meet in rugby league is Joey Greener.
Oh yeah, so yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. If you were to spend time in his company, engaging. Positive, really, really, just so knowledgeable about rugby league.
Yeah,
but couldn't coach in the
When
championship.
did they start going forward? When they got a bloke that knew the level they were playing in, and it's so important.
Well,
it's so important.
Well, it's like when you look at football. The ones who know the championship, there, playing on Saturday, Tuesday, know where they're going, they're travelling, all this sort of thing. Yeah, you've got to know what you're doing. You've got to do your homework.
Should be the coach of Featherstone.
You should.
You've got to do your homework.
Big Sam.
Final results are in. X Factor lights down and all that.
Mr. Popular.
32% of fans, Hull fans, like Schoey. Don't like Schoey. 33
it's
said,
a big read,
God
then.
no.
It's like doing the final on the X Factor and he got it wrong, didn't it?
Yeah.
So far you've had 2 jobs. One to put YouTube on, you broke it 3 times, and 2 to rig the poll out and you've got it wrong.
I mean, then I wonder why I got made redundant. But anyway, right, going on about the Hull fans. Well, whatever. Do Hull fans like Schoey? Well, the winner with 35%, a reluctant yes. So, well done, Schoey. Well done.
I still
There you
maintain 65% don't
There we
like
go.
it.
Hull fans, you know exactly. You like
65%
the,
don't
the
it.
open, honesty, Hull fans.
I think the
Thank you very
35%
much.
were Hull KR fans.
Yeah. We need to talk obviously about Andy Gelling. You said we'd come back to it later.
Yeah, go on then,
We're running
yeah.
out of time. Of course, he's now actually been pictured, and he's put that picture out on his own social media just in the last few minutes. If you're not with us, you're against us. I mean, kind of ironic given the week that he's had, but
I think he's great.
he's a character. He's a very
But
big
also,
character.
he's mastered the art of social media. And if you're going to appeal to a younger, perhaps newer audience, you want to tune into what he's got to say because you never quite know. The videos he made when he was at Wigan, the musical ones, I couldn't wait for the next one. They're brilliant.
There was the one with his lucky pants that was very funny as well. Things like that. I think it's almost, you know...
People
it's
take him too seriously and too literally because he put something out earlier this afternoon that people are saying I'm too good to play in the Championship. I was too good to play in Super League. You know, don't take him seriously. He's played in the NRL.
Hey, I tell you what, it's not about that social media. Can I do a video of me in my dressing gown? With a dancer and stuff?
That's why you're on CFAX, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's why you're not verified.
We'll Gmail you the details.
And of course, I think it's coming back to Phil's point. It's like Conor McGregor. At the end of the day, it could get a headline, and that's what we need.
And what the Widnes need at the moment.
Exactly.
Positive headline.
And then, of course, we've had loads of comments about it, Toronto, and this apparent winding up order. I don't know a lot about it, actually. But, Mark, what do you know?
Well, I mean, it was brought by our friend and colleague John Davison, wasn't it? But it's not the Wolfpack in Canada, it's a subsidiary company, isn't it?
I think it's something to do with a dispute over a level of legal fees for the case to get Ryan Bailey legal representation.
And Ryan Bailey then left the club anyway, so what an
nothing
absolute
more than
nightmare. What a nightmare that is, though, for them.
Yeah, I don't know anything more about it, but it's not going to affect the way the Wolfpack run.
Well, someone's going to have to pay that bill,
yeah,
aren't they?
somebody will. Yeah.
Someone will have to pick that
There'll
up.
be a
That's a lot of
dispute
money.
over the bill, which will either go to a court or it won't.
How much is the bill, do we know? There's a
It's a
figure
lot,
being
isn't
funded.
I think it's a lot, yeah.
6 figures, I think.
Is it?
Yeah. Enough to pay for my curry, anyway. With a bit of luck.
Tell you what, look at that waistline, son, you need to take it easy. Christmas is coming
It's a
up.
big jumper.
Christmas is coming up.
It's a big jumper.
You need to start taking it easy.
I'll tell
Stop
you what.
breathing in.
Stop breathing in.
Stop breathing in.
That's why you can talk for so long, breathing in for 2 hours.
Stop breathing in, Mr.
I
Wolf.
thought we had Muttley on the show.
That was a bit harsh.
Oh.
Can I say this?
Yeah, go for it, yeah.
John Thompson's got in touch, Schoey. What about Doug Lawton going for a curry with Garry?
Is it end at shoot?
As long as it,
That's where Scott just gets up and walks out.
as long as it was in a different restaurant.
Don't even give it the answer. Just walks out.
You could take him to Asda instead of Mark. Coming back
Take him
to...
to abattoir.
Let's go through the comments. So, of course, we're asking about the Catalans and things like that. Is it going to be a success? People already saying like it is already a success.
Yeah.
Tim has already booked his flights to Barcelona. It's one for all rugby league fans, not just the pie eaters.
Agreed.
Agreed.
I think we obviously throughout the show we've had a lot of talk about Hull, and thank you very much for doing so. Jacob Miller struggled when he was brought to Hull, but look at him now; he's much improved. People questioning the quality. Stephen Coates obviously asking about the Hull KR recruitment, and he's saying quality in Garbutt, WTF. I think Garbutt is quality. I think he could be one of the signings of the year, really, to be honest, but that's just me, maybe. And then lots of people getting in touch about the England-Australia, obviously the
Rankings.
the rankings and things like that, but also talking about the schoolboys and stuff like that. But it's of course the Yorkshire and the Lancashire lads. Yorkshire did a really good count themselves, I thought. So it's a shame that obviously the second half didn't go too well. But I think the main thing is obviously when you can watch it on the Our League app, get watching it. Free to air.
Go to the game if you can.
Well, yeah. A missed opportunity, says Andy. The new camp should have been a double header. Wire versus Leeds and the Catalans versus Wigan.
I think that would slightly detract from it. It's a Catalan thing.
Yeah.
And I think in that region, that flag means everything.
Yeah.
To focus solely on that, to have the opposition as the highest ranked team from last year, I don't think you need anything else.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Are you bothered? You got to Barcelona. I'm sure you'll be. Once you've seen a game, what to do with the stuff? Are you going to stick around, watch some of it? No, you're going to be out
On the
enjoying the
rambles.
city.
Yeah. And it's a wonderful. If you haven't been and you get the chance to go, it's a wonderful city. And if you can make a rugby league game the centrepiece of your visit, how fantastic is that? That is what the future of the sport is.
Very good, very good. That's it. Another 2 hours done, chaps.
Good job there's been no rugby then.
Yeah, exactly. We'd have been knackered if there had been some rugby. Tom, don't ring us. We'll ring you. Right, look, thank you for coming. We appreciate it.
Let me say one thing, right? I do apologise.
Too late. You've got to go now. Gary, thanks as ever. Thanks for breathing in. Thanks for not killing Phil with that tight shirt. What do you always say to me? Where do you get your clothes? Mother care. Yeah. Have a look. You're going to get one of these cardies like Phil's got. Thanks to Phil. Thanks to Richard Shawright for not saying anything too controversial this week. Thanks to Tom. It has been nice to have him here.
Mate, breaking.
Good to see you.
We look forward to ransacking his show soon as well. And that's it from Gary, Phil, Tom and I. Please download the podcast. That'll be up later. And thanks to everyone that does. We'll see you next week. He's still breaking it now, look. He's still breaking the show.